Woodland on a throw by Caleb Williams on the blitz with 17 seconds to go.
Courtesy Bears Radio, Chicago wins at 47-42. Meanwhile, in the loss, Joe Flacco, career high 470 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Bengals fall to 3-6. Also, the Steelers beat the Colts yesterday 27-20. Pittsburgh now 5-3 on the season. In the NFL, some historic news. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Raiders in overtime 30-29. Prior to the end of the first half, Cam Little kicked a 68-yard field goal, that the longest in NFL history. Guardians left fielder Stephen Kwan last night won his 4th consecutive Gold Glove. The winners got announced, as Kwan is also the first in franchise history to win a Gold Glove in his first 4 seasons. Be sure to catch Monday Night Football tonight. Cowboys and Cardinals tonight at 7, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Another turnover. Proctor with the steal. Proctor slows. Finds Mitchell. Mitchell with a pump fake. He fires. Donovan Mitchell was made for moments like these. There's a Cavalier steal. Cavs have forced 22 big turnovers. Tyson finds the cutter. Mobley banks and scores. Mobley, 90 seconds to go. Wanted Mitchell. Wisely kept it. Fires a 3. And knocks it down. Now the Hawks will concede a gutsy, moxie-filled effort by Jalen Tyson and the Cavaliers as the Cavs beat the Hawks tonight by the final of 117-109.
Offense is going to be perfect. We're putting guys in certain positions that they not necessarily haven't been in. So now it's just about teaching. Like, we have different guys coming in and out the lineup. Just continue to learn each other, right? It's not going to be perfect. And our record being 4-3, we're not worried or concerned about that. It's just what are we doing to build, and that's all that really matters to us.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of FanDuel TV. Good morning.
Morning, Kenny.
It's good to see you. Good to hear you. I'll say this about the Cavs real quick, because I think you and I are about to have we'll see. We'll see. You and I are about to have a little bit of a discussion here. The injuries are concerning for the thought of I don't want them to go back to Donovan hero ball, which last night kind of became that way. I don't want them to go back to that, because I want them to be able to learn and grow and not have to deal with like the injuries. Like, I'm not going to be critical of them doing what they have to do to get some wins, because obviously you want to win basketball games. You don't want to lose basketball games. But I said I don't have a problem with losing. But I think obviously professional athletes do in a regular season. I don't think they want to lose, and I think that he's going to do what he can to get every single win he can. And I obviously respect that. But again, what am I doing to get better for the postseason is the question. I mean, that's the entire goal of all of this. Does that make any sense to you at all, or no? No?
No, it does.
It's okay.
Like, what I'm looking for in games like that, where so many guys are like, they don't have Trae Young, so they don't know how to play without Trae Young, and you don't have Darius Garland and you have extra. It's like, I'm just looking at guys like Jalen Tyson and who can help us in the playoffs.
Okay, so that's fine.
It's like Lonzo Ball, I think, might be able to help you more in the playoffs if he's actually healthy.
Well, let me rephrase it. It's not like I didn't get anything out of the game. You get something out of the game, but I just feel a little bit like my arms are tied behind my back because, okay, Darius is one thing, and that can end up being a blessing in disguise. But, with Jarrett and those issues, it's like, well, I still need to force Mobley. I still need to force this type of offense. I still need to force what they've been doing. And I don't get the chance to do that so often because it's like, hey, you have an opportunity to win. You want to win. You're at home. You want to make sure you take care of that. So that's what you do. So again, I can understand where they're coming from. It's not even a criticism. It's just a little bit of a concern that I would have long term. The other thing of it, if you can mention this, I thought what you said over the weekend about Jalen Tyson was fantastic, where Cavs fans and really media as well, twisted themselves into pretzels about Isaac Okoro when, Jalen Tyson's just doing exactly what he's doing better at what he can help you with than what
much better
Isaac
than
Okoro could. Yes.
I'm
trying to be nice, but yeah.
Yeah, well, because Okoro is a really good dude and obviously was part of like the fabric of that Cavs, up and coming culture and everything. So you hate to be mean, but it's just like it's so obvious. Like one guy can help you when the games are going to matter. Like every article that came out or every story, like he's shooting 1,000 threes a game. This was Okoro. And then you'd watch him and he was unplayable in the playoffs. Literally unplayable.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Tyson is going to help you. That guy just makes winning plays all over the place. He's not afraid of anybody.
I don't disagree with you what you say there. Yeah, I don't disagree with you what you say there. I'll tell you that. I want to get back to him coming up in a little bit. This is a bigger issue, though, at least from yesterday. I really feel that the Browns, and it wasn't always this way, I feel that the Browns struggling has affected my enjoyment of the rest of the league. I don't sit there. And it wasn't this way until the Browns made the playoffs the first time in 2020. When the Browns made the playoffs the first time in 2020, and it was like a competitive season where you're watching all the other teams, and it's not just I'm watching all the other teams because I'm doing other shows and looking at all the other ways to get better and things like that. It's like, man, we're in the mix. We're in this. We can do it. We can make the postseason. And I started watching. I thought I was watching closely before. And then I realized, man, I'm watching even closer now. I'm a hawk. And in the 2 years they make the playoffs, you go through this run and you just watch more and more and more of it. Man, when they're not competitive, like I did not sit there and look at yesterday as like some great big thing to go, oh my God, this is fantastic. I get a whole menu of football to watch today. And I think you felt the complete opposite of how I felt yesterday.
So a part of it, I will say this, like the quarterbacking is horrendous in the NFL this year. And we're back to like every game has either a backup quarterback in or a starter gets injured and you end up seeing a backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. So that part of it stinks. And my God, some of the starters aren't even good before the backup quarterback. So that part of it stinks. And there have been a lot of Monday Night Football, don't care. Like Thursday Night Football, maybe. I mean, we talked about the production of what they do.
Yeah.
But there've just been a lot of, skip. There've been a lot of those. So if you're not a gambler or if you're not in fantasy, I do think you might be in a different spot. But yesterday, I just saw yesterday was amazing. I thought the Steelers game was amazing. I thought,
you thought the Steelers game was amazing?
Oh, my God.
I thought that was frustrating.
Yeah. I thought that was a Jacksonville game coming down to the end because it mattered to us. That was a big-time game with a 2-point conversion that you either win or lose. Like that, when a game comes down to that in overtime, that's awesome. Obviously, you had Mahomes versus Allen. So that alone was enough for me. Like, that was pretty cool.
I thought it wasn't a bad weekend. I just did not enjoy any of it. I mean, you mentioned the Bengals game. I know that's entertaining, and I'm sitting there saying, "Wow!" But as a football guy, maybe I can get maybe I get some backup from the other football guy in there. I was just like, I got mad. I got really. Go ahead.
It just doesn't seem like you care if the Browns are in it or not, Anthony.
He doesn't. I don't think he does.
Well, yeah, because I went into the season knowing this was going to be the case. So, like, I didn't. It's not like I had all these aspirations, hopes, and dreams of the Browns, and then 6 weeks in, their season's over, and I'm like, that ruins the NFL for me.
All right, so
I had to go into the year looking at other storylines and getting interested in other things around the league.
Okay, can I look at it from my perspective?
Yeah.
Now, do I have to go with the?
That you thought they'd win 9 games?
No.
He said 8.
That's the football guy talking, by the way.
I said 6.
You said 8.
Hold on.
Don't change that.
Yeah,
you said
don't
8.
flip.
Okay. Or we're going to yell at me at 6:10 in the morning on Monday?
No, you're trying to lie to the people of Cleveland.
Just don't be a liar, Ken.
Let me get the other sentences out before you go attacking me here. I mean, if this is a court of law, I'd throw you right out of here, Al Pacino.
If this was a court of law, you'd be in whatever.
I'd be what? In contempt of court or whatever it is, breach of the peace? Because I don't know what it is either.
You're supposed to not want to perjure yourself, Ken.
Yes, perjury. Let me finish the sentences. I originally said 6. Then I let the fans talk me into 8.
Don't put this on the fans.
I've always
You
put
said
on
it
the
with your
fans.
mouth.
I've always put it on the fans.
So now you're a puppet for the fans.
Should be wearing the clown makeup
I've never said that I wouldn't be influenced by fans. I'm influenced by fans and their sentiment all the time.
I came into this thing on your side, and here you are.
Why am I getting yelled? Okay, so let me go with this.
But it's weird because this is the year, like, what fans thought they were going to be good this year? Fans even knew they were going to be bad. Even the Homer fans were like, yeah.
But those were the Homer fans yelling at me, and then they were cussing out people on Twitter over it right after they lost to the Bengals. But they talked me into it the week of the game. So next year, unless I really do think they're going to be good, I got to hold down to it. It's just a lesson that I had to learn. That's all there is. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to bog it down with what my prediction was before the season, damn it. I'm just making a point and trying to color in how I felt at that time. Because even if you said 6 wins, that's not great. Being a guy, 6-11 is not good.
That's so many losses.
It is not good. And to show you the bottom of the barrel, like when they played 16 games, you remember this. We had that call. I'll never forget. I forget the guy. I know he was from Lyndhurst, but I forget his name. It was either Scott or Sean or Steve or somebody. And we gave okay, it's before the season starts. Let's give our predictions. And I said 5-11. And I was more than what certainly everybody thought it was because the show's been going on for a while. And the guy calls up and goes, "You are a homer. 5 wins? Where do you get 5 wins?" I go, "You know how bad it is that we're getting called homers? I'm getting called a homer for saying 5 wins." And I've never forgotten that. Anyway, let me get to it. When I didn't think, I said 6 wins, and even 6 wins is like, there's going to take some doing. Even at 6 wins, knowing that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, knowing that I don't think this is going to be a very good football team, knowing that it might be frustrating because I think I thought the defense going in, I think a lot of people thought they would bounce back, but the offense is the offense. And having that feeling, it kind of affects the way I take in the rest of the league. It really does. And now that I know better, now that I've tasted playoffs, and twice while this show's been going on, okay, we're getting ready for a playoff game against Houston. We're getting ready for a playoff game against Kansas City. Like that whole thing. Once you've tasted success of any level, being a playoff team, now I know what I'm missing, and I just look across the league, and it's not even like I'm bitter. It takes away the overall league enjoyment that I used to have when I knew the Browns weren't very good way back in the day, where I didn't know any better. Yes.
I just want to get back on Lima here for a second.
Yeah.
So you watched that as a Browns, so you're still a Browns fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You watched that yesterday as a Browns fan and watched a Pittsburgh team that was supposed to be worse than you with a guy who could barely walk into the stadium at quarterback, go out and play pretty good offense against one of the top teams in the NFL, right? And their defense held down Jonathan Taylor.
Well, 6 turnovers, and Taylor couldn't run the football.
Yeah, so you were cool with that, a team that you were supposed to be better than in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Because I wanted to say this to him.
Well, you were cool with watching Joe Flacco be an offensive juggernaut again. You were cool with the Jaguars, who you hold their pick, getting another win.
Yeah, you're right. So this is totally fair. There's not a bone in my body that is rooting against Joe Flacco to make the Browns win. We already lost the arguments. The Browns have lost all the arguments.
Yes.
It's so decisive how incredible. I mean, Flacco looks like a top 5 quarterback in the league. Okay, and with us, he looked like a terrible, washed-up 48-year-old quarterback. So the arguments are over. Now I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun on my Sundays and try to enjoy it, because when the Browns are playing and score, 13 points and they lose, I can't just from August till February not be into football. It's just not really an option. I still want to have some fun. I want some departure from the 2 maniac kids running around. I want to have some fun and some excuse to just sit on the couch and enjoy some of it.
So this is my issue.
I wasn't rooting for the Steelers, but I was rooting for a good game. I don't want to have in that window. I don't want to have the Steelers just in a game that I was looking forward to the Colts outside, on grass, Daniel Jones. I was looking forward to that.
So now you're going to blame your bad Browns fandom on having children.
Yeah, well, I blame a lot of what I've become on the 2 children.
Okay.
I don't like to exacerbate that, by the way. I really don't want you to be depressed. Having kids can be a tough thing for some. You got to ease into it. This is what confounds me about you. And this is why you're not a football guy. You cannot tell me. Now let me get this straight. You like the Steelers game. You're excited about the Steelers game.
Oh yeah.
Even at the end
it
of
had
it,
it all.
Okay. But then you also like the Bengals game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, this is why you're not a football guy. and this is why Owen and I are. Okay? The Steelers game had defense. The Steelers game confounded Daniel Jones, turned him over. Daniel Jones made mistakes. They had the weird punt stuff that Mike Tomlin likes to do because he's Mike Tomlin. Do you know Aaron Rodgers? Do you know how many air yards he had per play in that game?
Oh, it was not much of anything.
It was 2.9.
He got injured before the game, I guess. Was his arm.
It was 2. Either way, it was 2.9. All right? The Bengals game on the other side offered you no defense.
None.
Crazy scoring. Like, as a football guy, you got to look at one of those and go, I like this, I don't like that. Like, I like the Steelers game. The Steelers and Colts. The Bengals game I actually just got mad at.
Even as sloppy as the Steelers game was. I mean, 6 turnovers.
Yeah, but when you are creating, I think that they had Daniel Jones a little bit confused on things. And Daniel Jones he's probably better than what I'm calling him, a glorified running back, for crying out loud, but he's also not top tier of the league. He's not anything. The heater that he was on, I don't think he can sustain that, all right? That's where I'm at on Daniel Jones. All right, I'll give him a little bit of respect because he's a professional quarterback, for crying out loud. But when you're saying, like, it's just, you're just enjoying that. I'm sorry, let's just get down to it. You're just enjoying not watching the Browns. That's what it is. Because you watch this
and
game.
Watching good, close games.
I watch a tough football game. The other one, there was no defense. Like, the reason the Bears win and the reason I got mad is like, hey, first off, Caleb Williams is just running around. You have a minute and a half left to go in this game. Did they have a timeout or not? I thought they had one. Maybe they didn't. You had a minute and a half left to go in this game. And on first and second down, he's just running around in the backfield all over the place. And I'm going, I cannot believe you guys. You are idiots. Set up an offense and go. You got Ben Johnson and go. Then he got the first down, and then obviously there was the one that got him in field goal range that ended up being a touchdown. And the reason you couldn't do it, or the reason I got mad, is because you just got guys running into each other, not wrapping, not tackling. And I forget who was on the call of that game. They were like, this is bad. This is just bad tackling. For the love of God, you have to make that wrap up. You have to bring him down. This is terrible.
Yeah, I can't.
And to watch that, I just got mad. I'm going, this is entertaining. This is what people want. But I go, that's not good football.
I can't have the whole league looking like that. That's why I loved a day like yesterday. There was a lot of diversity. There was a lot of different ways that. Yeah, it was nice to just sit back and watch games come down to the wire. Both those games in the 4 o'clock window. I mean, I had 2 boxes. Just watching both of those games. They both ended around the exact same time. So that's where I got so much of the entertainment yesterday. You're right. Like, it can't be every game like that. But watching Joe Flacco and look like he's 28 years old, like it's been pretty cool.
It's entertaining. And like, there's no way I can sit there and go, well, it's a bad entertainment. It's not. General fans are entertained by that. I get that. But if I'm looking at the better game, obviously I think the better game is, and it was a struggling game with the Colts and with the Steelers. I just think we hit on a note there that you were just happy to watch football that didn't entertain, that did not. I'm not saying you're not a fan. It's not what I'm saying. I think you're bitter. I think you're cynical. I think a lot of people agree with you about that. I'm not saying that you guys are bad fans.
I don't see how.
What I'm saying is, I think you looked at a bye week and went, oh my God, I can watch the rest of football and not have to worry about us sucking up the room.
And I don't be free. And I don't see how every Browns fan hasn't kind of pivoted from the muck and the disaster of watching the 13 points every week and just find that, because yesterday was so much better than a Browns Sunday.
But I have been so affected by their bad play, how I feel about the rest of the league. 216-474-0092. Do the Browns affect how you feel about watching the rest of the league when you watch the bye weeks yesterday? 216-474-0092. And I've been wrong all season because I'm getting more desperate by the day. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work. Will you hear Daryl Ryder at 8:20 on The Fan?
92.3 The Fan.
Coming up Monday night, football heads to Texas for the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Dak Prescott and Dallas needing a win to get back to 500. Now they face an Arizona team coming off a bye. Join me and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner for all the action on Monday Night Football.
The radio home of the NFL in Cleveland is Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
A lot of people watch that Bengals game and were just mad. Just like Xavier's mad, a lot of people were mad. There you go. For many reasons, by the way. Many reasons. It wasn't just like, I just look at it football and go, I can't, how do you score 40 points in an NFL game and lose the game? It's unforgivable in so many ways. Like, yeah, Jamar Chase Brown, I think he was cussing, if I'm not mistaken, in the post game there. I'm sure we'll get to it at either about last night or Lima Likes coming up. Lima Likes is coming up in about 15 minutes. 216-474-0092. Yes.
Yeah, I do just want to ask you, though, in general, because the Bengals are going nowhere. Their season shot.
Of course.
The Browns are going nowhere. Their season shot. Who would you rather watch on your Sundays? If you could pick, would you want the defensive team, or the offensive team?
If I could watch a game?
No, it's just which one would you want as the Browns? Either way, you're bad and your season's
You want the
over.
offensive team. People preach. Everybody wants to say they have tough defense until it comes down to it. You got tough defense. You got a real tough defense. Now, I would like to have a little bit better of an offense. Do I have to take one of the worst offenses I've ever seen if I want to say that I'm a defensive guy?
Yeah.
Do I have to say that? Because like you can be a really good football team, be a high flying offense. Like, that was one of the things that Bill Walsh always fought was like, hey, we're not finesse. Like I got Tom Rathman, I got other guys. I'll line up and mow you down. It doesn't matter to me. And Roger Craig, he was upset by that. But you can be a really good fast offense and obviously a really good football team. I think most people though can't attain that because those types of skills, they're hard to find. They're really hard to find. I mean, you look at the league again. If we're just watching games, I hate to bring this up again here, or I hate to bring in something out of nowhere. Did you watch Chiefs-Bills and have the epiphany going, oh, yeah, it's Chiefs-Bills again? These are the two best in the AFC. I thought that, watching that game last night. I go, here's Josh Allen. They got a bit of a running game now. They can go right down the field and do things.
Probably,
this is what
probably,
it is.
Well, I would say this is probably the AFC Championship game, except if the season were to end yesterday, Cincinnati is not, Kansas City's not in the playoffs.
Correct. They're the 8th seed.
They're the 8th seed. So, I mean, think about how crazy that is.
216-474-0092. Let me get to Mike in Cleveland. You're first up on the Fan. Mike, do the Browns affect how you feel about the rest of the league? How you feel about watching the rest of the league?
Oh, no. What's up, first of all, guys? I got over that a couple years ago. I let them ruin the season for me, so they won't affect my watching. I watched that Broncos-Texans game and loved it because the Browns, they hold no more power over my enjoyment. When the team starts with 4 quarterbacks, outdated offense, some dude in San Diego making decisions, giving Isaiah Bond a job off the street, all of this stuff, it doesn't equate to being a good team. So I already knew the Browns was going to be bad. So, yeah, I'm going to enjoy other games if I can find some enjoyment in them.
I used to be that way. Mike, I used to be that way.
What do you mean?
Because I watch it, because if everything is, it's almost like you're watching other teams, you're enjoying other teams out of spite. When you say all the things you just
Don't
said.
say that.
What do you mean? Is it not true?
No, it's not out of spite. It's just more so like I expected. It's kind of like a relationship. I know you guys happily married, so you won't feel me on this. But when you're with a girl that's pretty or that you like her, but you just absolutely know like this relationship is going nowhere. So I'm not surprised when she rides off with somebody else. It's like, yeah, I saw that coming, so I'm still gonna enjoy life. I'm not gonna be depressed for 6 months and act like I'm heartbroken. Same with the Browns. Come on, man, we got a dude who made the owner $4 billion in another business calling shots over here, so we're stuck with him. We got all this drama. Don't get me started on the Shador Wars because I'll be on the phone forever. So it's just like none of this said that we were going to enjoy the Browns, so we might as well enjoy other things. So it's not out of spite like the Browns so bad I'm going to watch other teams. It's not that.
How old are you?
I'm 32. I've seen a lot, but I know I haven't seen enough. I know.
I wish you were older, or I wish I was younger. I wish I would. Mike, thank you for the call. I wish I would have known Mike in college. I had a lot of bad breakups, man, and I wish I would have known Mike. Like, Kenny, that wasn't going anywhere. Just move on. I wish I would have known Mike when I was a young man. Go ahead.
Well, how about the fact that, just doing the math right now, like Jacksonville pulls that game out. They're 5-3. So, and we'll certainly be talking about the draft stuff and all that because Jacksonville is very relevant right now for Browns fans. But it looks like you were going to have to win 10 games to get into the playoffs in the AFC.
Yeah.
Like, that is so far from where the Browns are right now.
We got 9 games left. You only got 8 to go. I mean,
but that just like knowing
I'm being sarcastic.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes, I'm being sarcastic here.
Like if I would have told you that before the season, like you got to get to 10 wins in the AFC to have a shot to make the playoffs. Like that is brutal.
I think a lot of people wouldn't have thought it was a possibility for them.
That's the really hard thing about this whole from a wider perspective, right? Is that there are so many coach quarterback combos already ahead of you. How do you get above them? How in the world do the Browns, like right now I do feel as hopeless as I've felt, and that's with a team with Myles Garrett.
It's the same answer, and I wanted to get to this, but I still want to get to some of the calls. Like I had a great conversation with Coach Lance before the Berea Mid-Park playoff game against Cleveland Heights because he was doing the game on Spectrum. Yeah. And I came to this realization. I go, geez, Lance, we're talking about, and I don't want to divulge everything because I'm sure he's got some of it for what he does in his media and when he goes on with Nick and Jonathan. But I look at him, I go, Lance, like some of the things I've been saying here, like I get caught up in the moment. I'm so desperate. I've never been this desperate in my life watching the Browns. I've never been this way. Like I'm a desperate man, but I've never been this. Like watching Joe Flacco, and I see him, I go, man, it's just he's out of. It seems like maybe the truck's finally out of gas. Maybe we're not going to be able to. It's not just a solenoid here. We're really going to have to talk about this. It just seems to be too much. The truck isn't worth it anymore. And then he goes down to Cincinnati, and hey, their defense is one of the worst I've ever seen. Yeah. But the offense clicks. Okay, Ken, well, they have Jamar Chase. Who do we have? Okay, whose fault is that? That's Andrew Berry's fault. Maybe not to have Jamar Chase, but you can at least have something that's better than this, right? Instead of investing in Isaiah Bond, giving up on routes. And Jerry Jeudy, God bless him, is right now he's trying to be a good guy. And I give him all the credit in the world. He's trying to be a good teammate, trying as hard as he can. And I'm sure it's hard to be a good teammate if you're a wide receiver on this football team that has any talent whatsoever. Like, one washes the other. And so before, I wouldn't have thought about some of the other things, like Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel comes in first. He's starting too soon. Why is he starting too soon? Well, I was one of the people who wanted to see him, so he's starting too soon. And Lance said one of the best things ever. He goes, I really wanted him to start against the Jets coming up next Sunday because I want to see how he responds to playing terribly because he was really bad. And I was like, you know what? It's a great point. If you guys have that much, if the Browns have that much in on him, how will he respond after playing and having a bye week and playing terrible football? And then I start to think about the other ones, and I'm watching Julian Sayin on Saturday, and I don't even want to tell you yet what I was thinking during that game. And I'm going, man, I'm just so damn desperate.
What, you would give up to get him?
I'm so desperate this season.
You trade Myles Garrett for the first pick to get Julian Sayin next year.
I'm so damn desperate. I can't help myself because I just see this and I go, it's there. There's more of them than there's ever been. You got to be. And it just feels like we had it for a second. And I know that there was two sides to that. I get it. But damn, like it really makes me shake with frustration. And so I watch these teams and I know how how close we might have been at one point where the window was open, and if cooler heads might have prevailed, and now it's gone. And now it's gone. And I know where to begin, but that conversation's tougher than it's ever been because we don't know exactly what we're looking at anymore when it comes to quarterbacks. I mean, how many different quarterbacks have been people talking about how, oh God, the Browns would love this guy. Oh my gosh, the Jets would love this guy. And it rotates every week. It rotates every week. And it's not even a flavor of the month thing. It's we don't know how to evaluate him the way we did. And so now I'm more nervous and I'm more desperate than I've ever been. And so I watch these other games and I'm doing it because it's my job. The NFL, college, I'm different. But I'm watching the NFL and I do it because of my job. I'm like, man, now that I know what I'm missing, like watching competitive football, really good football, not just waiting for the dam to break every Saturday, every Sunday, it depresses me. So it's almost like I'd rather just go through the motions with the Browns than have to watch other teams have a crack at it, which is sad. So damn sad. I didn't mean to depress everybody. What's coming up in 5 minutes on Lima Likes?
What is happening in Boulder, Colorado, and that's a pretty good World Series. Is baseball back?
Lima Likes coming up in 5 on the Fan. Window Nation at Window Nation.
got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Does Lima like?
Or does Lima no like?
Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot.
No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
All right, we have to, after the very, very depressing end to the previous segment, how about your wine and gold?
I didn't mean to depress everybody.
I know you didn't get. We're talking through it.
So damn
We're
desperate.
just getting through it. Anyway, Cavaliers 117-109 win. And I think maybe you could make the argument the story of the first 7 games of the Cavs. Little uneven, but Jalen Tyson, ladies and gentlemen, I think he has been fantastic. And Ken asked me, what am I looking for in all these games where neither team is healthy? The Cavs, we're still waiting for Darius Garland. Max Strus isn't there. You've even had Donovan Mitchell, banged up. I'm looking for guys like Jalen Tyson. And 6 of 14 yesterday. That doesn't jump off the page. But just all the little things, the rebounding, the contesting, the scrapping it up and getting on the floor and stealing possessions. That stuff is, I think, what does carry over to the playoffs. I think it has been awesome.
You know what? You make me feel better about it. I look at the starting 5, but you're right. I mean, if Jalen Tyson, we can find him to be a much better version of Isaac Okoro, then obviously you're winning. It's not hard to be a much better version in the playoffs of Isaac Okoro. So, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's been a lot of fun to watch him, and I think that is a guy the fans are going to gravitate towards. That is the quintessential Cleveland, the hard hat lunch pail stuff that we all go crazy over. Like, he's just so much better than Okoro.
Doing the dirty work.
Doing all that stuff. You do need guys like that. Like, Indiana felt like they had 7 of those guys last year. And who did the Cavs have? Who are the guys that do all that stuff?
Supposed to be Isaac Okoro.
Yeah, and he couldn't even be on the floor.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, is it back?
Lima likes.
One of the best World Series ever. And it started out at the beginning of that series like, I wasn't really into it. I'm not happy about the financial disparity. And by the end of the series, I was locked in. I was absolutely locked in. And of course, it helped. It was Friday night?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Perfect. Baseball lucked out big time.
And then Saturday went 11 innings, and they gave me an extra hour of sleep. So
Yeah.
Everybody could enjoy it.
Unfortunately,
no likes.
I felt sick for Shane.
I did.
I felt absolutely sick because someone's got to blow it, and he was the guy to blow it. And he, by the way, maybe shouldn't feel too bad for him because he's extended his career. I mean, I've seen projections about how much money he could make with a new deal. Like, good for him in that way. I don't know how much that money is going to ease the pain of blowing the World Series. How bad do you feel for getting?
I feel a little bit bad, obviously, because, I mean, again, you can't take the money with you, but you can pass it down to future generations if you like.
Can.
So
I did think of when I watched him on the mound in the 11th, you telling the story of your wife running by as they were leaving town and going, hey, Shane, good luck in Toronto. The best luck he could have until he gave up the home run.
Yeah, so it went straight to hell.
But is baseball back, or is it just going to be like March Madness, where it's just a month, just a 4-week sport?
And more viewers in the Super Bowl, right? In Game 7?
I saw
that's what the article said.
In real-time numbers or something, that live numbers. I don't remember exactly
It was
what they said.
there was some weird accounting there.
Yeah.
Is it global, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
You say it's baseball back. By next June, you'll be poo-pooing baseball again.
It's not. Yeah, because
Anthony
you're
will.
Be, well, yeah,
for sure.
Because you're getting ready for. Because he will be getting ready for. I think you're right, though. Like, I think the sport is still great. I think the sport is still big and still popular, but I don't think you're watching games of other teams, and I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you really need to. I mean, if you're still able to pop this type of people watching the World Series with big names, big stars, international big stars. I'd say don't fix what ain't broken right now.
As long as
it ain't broken.
If you don't end up suspending your international stars because maybe they had their interpreter
you won't
back
have to worry about that. Baseball has their back. They don't have to worry about that.
Let's go down. We'll go down there and we'll do some batting practice, and maybe Emmanuel Clase can hit some 600-foot home runs. And if he can, we'll talk. If not, well, then I'm sorry.
What has happened?
Down
in Boulder, Colorado. We're paying attention. Obviously, with Shedeur, here, and there was a lot of question about, is Shedeur going to be rehabbing here into this back injury? And we had audio we played for you on Friday. And then had a nice surprise. He surprised his dad. Showed up in Boulder, and then his team absolutely no-showed. They got boat raced. Horrible, horrible loss to Arizona. This is back-to-back blowouts.
Two things. Oh, were you going to say something before
No,
I said this?
go ahead.
Number one, maybe it was right that they retired Shedeur's number. Because it was bad.
Because it might not ever be as good as that.
I watched this. It was bad. Second thing is, you know what? Sometimes the old man just needs to pick me up. Maybe he felt, you know what? Gotta go help out the old man here for a second. Not going to do any heavy lifting, get that back straightened out, get ready to go. But
when they are good, Colorado, that was so much fun the last few years, and they weren't great. They weren't great. They were definitely a little bit of a media creation, but it was because of who Dion is, what he embodies, and he took that team from horrendous to pretty good, like in short order. And then they lose Travis Hunter, they lose Shedeur. What was the plan there? Now, I mean, it's pretty clear. They are basically begging for money. We need money. They are begging every booster. We need money. We can't compete without money. But what was their plan to replace Shedeur and Travis Hunter?
I could talk your ear off forever about the history of that program and everything that limited it without needing to be limited. And now everybody else is on the same playing field. So or a better playing field because of NIL. So it makes it even more difficult for them. So there's only so much you can do.
Just listen to Coach having to deal with the fact that they're just not good enough.
How do you explain the past couple of weeks to recruits and their parents?
I don't have to explain it. They saw it. See, you got to understand, if you're a dog, you want to come here and right the wrong. If you're a cat, you look at the scoreboard and you run. Which one are you? A dog or a cat?
Which one are you, Kenny?
I'm a dog.
Wait, so his recruiting pitch is, we're bad. Do you want to make us better or not?
I don't run to other NFL football games when things aren't good. I sit there and I watch in depression and anger. I'm a dog through and through.
So when they lose 10 games this year, he'll go, it's just Cruton, man.
Hear
out there getting the guys out there getting dogs.
It is,
I hear a lot of Milo sounding me out when I watch those Browns. A lot of that, unfortunately.
Poor Milo.
I know.
You got a new cat. What's that cat's name?
Dora. Oh, Dora.
You want to hear what Dora sounds
Heaven
like?
has blessed us.
Same thing.
Heaven has blessed us.
Speaking of Colorado. Wait, this is a good one.
What is
Lima like?
Travis Hunter. Are the laser eyes back? The injury to Travis Hunter.
Celebrate an injury? What are you talking about, you nut job?
I could celebrate a draft pick.
Yeah, and then they won yesterday.
I know. They did win.
Yeah, they did win.
They did win, which is interesting. Because, Kenny, you always point out, like, tanking's no good. Tanking doesn't help anybody. But yet we are definitely sitting there rooting for Jacksonville to lose every game because we want a higher draft pick.
Well, they don't need to tank. I just want to lose. I just want them to lose. That's all. And then they won.
I thought they were gonna lose.
Now,
sure.
Did it help that it was they last second won against the worst team? I mean, I think the Raiders are worse than the Browns are.
Wins a win. Power rank the worst teams right now. You got to go.
Okay,
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, do it.
All right, number one worst team, Raiders. It's because I hate them in general, but
2 to go.
Yeah, probably number 2.
You know we're underdogs this week against the Jets.
Yeah, we are.
Fine. Browns are number 2, Jets are number 3.
Hey. But Carolina's 5-4. One final note. I bottomed out yesterday.
Lima no like.
Maybe it's because I had a few drinks in me and we were out and about. I go into the bathroom. And
you used to go in the bathroom for a little pick-me-up.
No, those days are gone. So this kid comes in. I don't know. I ballpark him at like 14.
Okay.
Comes in and he goes 6'7", and his buddy is just dying outside because his buddy's coming into the bathroom too. So I just walk out and I turn the light off and went 69. That's it for Lima Likes. I'm like, how old am I?
You turn the lights out?
Yeah. I had to do it. I just don't know what's the comeback. What do you do? So I went back. I regressed. 18-year-old Lima was right there in the bathroom. We used to destroy bathrooms. We don't do that anymore.
We don't do. No, you don't do that anymore. 9 o'clock. Trey Waco going to join us on the show. Tell Daryl that story. I bet Daryl laugh his ass off if you tell him that story. Coming up next, Andrew Berry says they like to zig when everyone else zags. Well, buying at the deadline. would certainly be that. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Extend Technologies beat you to it. XTENDAV.com.
I got to turn the lights off and yell numbers.
Turn the lights off.
to win a Gold Glove in his first 4 seasons with the team. Be sure to catch Monday Night Football tonight. Cowboys and Cardinals. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekday starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Also, by the way, you didn't congratulate Streetsboro on their win during Lima Likes. That might have been a Lima no like.
I had friends at the game.
Friends at the game?
Yeah, some old West G alum. They were sending pictures and scoring updates.
They go to Chuggers afterwards or something?
No, I don't know. But congratulations. You're right. Streetsboro,
Yep.
You are moving on. Who they got next?
Lake Catholic.
Okay.
Gonna be a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be a tough one. Now, I like both coaches, but obviously you know where my allegiance lies.
What shirt you wearing on Friday, then?
I got to wear a Streetsboro one. It's the borough. What am I? I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Even though I do think Lake Catholic's sending one. And if you want to send a high school sweatshirt, go right on ahead. I'll wear it on the TV, on the radio show, on the YouTube. I don't care. Someone says like Drew Carey, I'm go, it's exactly like the Drew Carey show. Wait, you send one, I'll wear it. I don't care what high school it is.
John Gruden, if you send him a box, you know what he's going to do.
He's going to wear it. What does he do with all this stuff? He's probably got a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, I imagine he's got a palatial estate.
Should the Browns be sellers at the deadline here? Because according to Adam, according to Adam Schefter, Browns are going to be buyers, or they're going to be looking for young quality talent here. That they don't intend to move on from David Njoku, they don't tend to move on from really anybody else. They're going right on ahead, and they want to make sure that they go out and they get some young guys. Is this a prudent move? Do you trust not Stefanski? Do you trust Barry to do this?
No, I mean, I think he can still make good deals, even though I don't think he's been a great GM. And I think evidence of that is the type of deal that he just swung. He just swung the Newsom trade, and that's the type of deal that I think makes a lot more sense. No, I don't think we should be depleting future assets to go get, to go make a big splash and get a big time wide receiver, because that would be irresponsible.
Right.
Like, that makes no sense, the state of affairs where they're at, and they're in a rebuild now. So we all understand that, right? Like, as long as we all understand where the team is.
So, wait a minute. Like, if they got, if they got Garrett Wilson, I'm just going to throw a big name out there that people have talked about. If they win, they got Garrett Wilson. You wouldn't be excited?
I'm not trading. It depends how they get him. Like, I'm not giving up, our own first round pick or anything like that. Like, that to me would be irresponsible.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't make, even though I think Garrett Wilson is really good, I just think you have to start aligning things. I think one of the problems with this year's team is there's nothing aligned. Like you have these older offensive linemen, and then you brought in Joe Flacco, but Myles Garrett's in his prime, but now we're going to bring in and start rookies. Like, there's too many different timelines going on. That makes no sense.
Okay, so what do you think we ought to be doing then? Because we need to get each other on record then on what our plan is. How do you want to go about this? I'm not even talking about trade deadline, everything here. Because they did, and they went and they made the trade with Greg Newsom and Tyson Campbell. Seemed to be a fine enough move. Tyson Campbell so far. Now, we do have a couple of Campbell truthers in the media who say, you guys just wait. It's eventually going to go bad. I go, okay, well, I've only had him for 2 games, and so far it's gone pretty well for him. So we got that with Tyson Campbell. I'm not sure what other moves are out there, because I'm not Spotrac. I'm not paying attention to every single contract. I gotta look at all these guys. But if there is something to do it, like, he's got to be very, very, very careful. I think there's a large group of people. I think there's probably a strong majority of people who don't want him making any moves. They got the picks that they have for next year, and they just want somebody else to execute those picks. All right, but I got to look at it with what he is right now, that he is the general manager, and he's the general manager until they say otherwise, because everything they've said is that everybody's hunky-dory and everybody's aligned and ready and lockstep and everybody's on good terms.
Yeah, they need to figure out, and it's tough to do, as you've pointed out time and time again, like, offensive linemen aren't just available if they're good, but you were able to swing a Wyatt Teller trade, back in the day. John Dorsey
and they didn't
was able
think
to
he
do that.
was good in Buffalo.
Right,
that's part of it.
So they need to take some swings in that regard. That makes sense, and that's not going to deplete your first or second round. You're not trading necessarily top 100 picks
No.
for something like that. But I would expect them because, man, looking at their offensive line situation next year, we keep seeing that it could be 5 new guys. And that doesn't make any sense if you're drafting a quarterback, in the first round. That makes life really hard. You're almost walking into a terrible situation if you're a brand new quarterback of the Browns, and that's the case. So you got to be mindful of that.
So, as of everything, has anything changed for you? Is it still, hey, let's get to the end of this season? Miles is off the board. Let's just say Miles is off the board according to what they wrote last week, and we talked about it. He's off the board. You got your first-round picks next year. Are you taking a quarterback, taking an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, taking and moving on and still staying young, not trading away any of these guys? Or would you think, you know what, it's time for David Njoku to go, give me a pick? Is it time for maybe somebody on the offensive line to go? I don't know what you do with Wyatt Teller because, again, you're going to need someone there. So are you moving on from that, or are you keeping him around and seeing if you can do it's a bad example, but the Jack Conklin deal, it's like, well, you're going to try to find somebody to be as good as him, to be your right tackle. You might as well just have him because that's the going rate for free agents. So it could end up being that way for Wyatt Teller because I don't think Zach Zenter's playable at any moment. And you have Luke Whippler who's able to move around a little bit, but you really want him to be the center.
And the hard part is, how old is Wyatt now? He's still functional. He's just not as good as he was, 3 years ago when he was just an ass kicker all over the place.
I think he's still pretty good, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make it sound like he's washed up or anything like that. That's why I'm saying they probably got to sign him. They got to sign him, but you got to understand too when you sign guys at his situation at this stage of his career, the expect he's 30 now. So you're not going to get the best years of Wyatt Teller. That's the hard part of this.
And I think it's a weird thing because I think that people just want some clarity right now. And what has made the situation tougher is that it's almost like they're trying to do so many things at once and they're not good at all of it. You're trying to still be competitive in this season. Okay, well, we know they're not going to be. All right, so what are you going to do if you're not going to be competitive? You start trading guys that can get you value for the future. Okay, well, they're not doing that. What are you going to do at the quarterback position? Well, nobody's throwing with every single one of these quarterbacks out there. It's going to be a big conversation. What do you do with the guy who's backing up the current starter? That's a big conversation as well. I think there's confusion and a lot of rhetoric about each one of those things. And I think it's just letting them go, man, we're chewing a lot of fat and having a lot of different conversations about the same team that goes to the same place every year. They go to the basement every single year. And why are we doing this? So I think that leads, when I go back to 2016 and 17, the real dark times, there were people who were definitely out of it, but there were people who could get behind it because they felt that was the best way to do it. Right now, you're not doing something that has a clear plan at the end of it. And it's brought some criticism. Charles Robinson brought up that people are criticizing him before. You've had, Nate Tice, I think you posted that audio last week or something where they're going, what are you doing with this roster here? What's this roster management? You're either growing or you're dying. What are you necessarily trying to do to fix this problem or to make this situation better in the future? I think there's so many mixed signals right now of what they're going to do. And obviously he didn't talk last week. He probably ain't going to talk this week, so we ain't going to get any answers until it's all said and done. What the hell do you do? And so I ask for a lot of fans, do you agree with this? Or are there people who are just ready to rip the Band-Aid off and say, David's been a fine player, goodbye. Wyatt's been a fine player, goodbye, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 95 is a totally different argument. That's a totally different animal and a totally different conversation. But the other two guys, and maybe even Shelby Harris, Jerome Ford, I think a lot of those people would trade them without batting an eye.
Yeah, and the Njoku one is tough because he's got a significant cap hit next year, but do we care about next year's cap hit if the team's just not going to be that good?
I don't know if they do. I don't know if
it's like 21 million.
21 million is different than 73 or whatever the hell it is for Miles.
And the other part of the Njoku issue is he's not as explosive. I think we all can see that. I don't know what happened. How did that happen overnight?
Well, he's clearly not playing banged up now.
He's not old.
The knee injury, everything, he's clearly playing banged up. But he's been banged up at parts of his entire career. I think that David has always been on the fringe for a lot of fans, and I think for a lot of people watching him. There's definitely a possibility where he could be one of the better tight ends in the league, but it's always been on the fringe, and something's either got in the way. I look at the quarterback, who can be really good with the quarterbacks?
That's it. It's tough.
When you had veterans who are guys who go to their tight ends first, a guy like Jacoby Brissett, you have a chance to look a little bit better. When your quarterback situation is not good, when your health situation isn't that good, when your offense, even you got guys who struggle to see you, that's all going to lead to some negative things. I think with David, he's been dealing with it his entire career. I don't think people look at Harold Fannin Jr. and think, well, that's the future. We can just get rid of this guy. I don't know if they necessarily want to see it that way. And especially when you're talking about the cap hit going into next year, it makes it so much more difficult because I think they're chasing something that I don't know if they can really attain. And that is, dare I say, that Commanders situation last year. Now it's led to something hellish this year for him. He should not have been out there last night like that. I can't believe he was still out there down 31 when he's had 2 injuries already this year. For the love of God. Talking about Jaden Daniels. Yeah. He got, if you guys just tuned in, he got hurt, like he hyperextended the elbow. I think he dislocated his left elbow yesterday. And that looks like that's going to be a pretty significant injury. And he shouldn't have been out there when they were down by 31 late in the football game anyway. But either way, you could try to go and chase that route if you want to. But man, you just don't have any trust within the fan base at all. So how do I sell the fan base at all on the idea? If you're the Browns, how do I sell the fan base at all on the idea of keeping guys around and making these moves? Because I think a lot of people will line up and go, yeah, maybe it was time to trade David. Yeah, it was maybe time to trade Wyatt. Yeah, it was maybe time to trade so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. But they're not the ones going to be executing the picks, right? He's not going to be the one actually making the choices, right? Well, his draft last year was good. Okay, but what about the previous 5? Like, all that is there for the fans, and I think a lot of folks are just sitting there, and that's why we had the argument we had at the beginning of the show. I think they agree with you, and they go, I'm just going to watch something else here until you get me something that is going to be exciting to me. They'll watch exciting football, which is even bad football. They'll watch good football, which isn't even not exciting football. They're just going to watch other football. Because according to a lot of people agreed with you in the opening segment. And so I don't know how you get this across to the fans. I don't think you can until you move on from certain people.
But what I don't, you asked at the beginning, what I absolutely do not want them doing is like an all-in trading, future draft picks desperation mode, to make up for all the bad wide receiver deals or, the trades or the draft picks that they have attempted.
You certainly don't want that. 216-474-0092. Should the Browns be sellers here at the deadline? Should they be willing to move on from these guys, or do you want them to stand pat and add to it? And I've been wrong all season because I've been desperate. And I think both sides of the same team are being exposed by Joe Flacco's play recently. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the absolutely positively free Odyssey app. Daisy Dips. I hope that we've been able to expose you of the great
Winners announced on Sunday. Quan, the fourth player in franchise history to win a Gold Glove in 4 more consecutive years. Quan also the first in franchise history to win a Gold Glove in his first 4 seasons. Be sure to catch Monday Night Football tonight. Cowboys and Cardinals. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Joe Flacco exposed the Browns. He exposed all of us who said, nah, it's maybe time for Joe Flacco to hit the road, hit the dusty trail. I didn't think I wanted to trade him. I just wanted to see Dylan Gabriel. Oh, by the way, 100% wrong. Willing to eat that, willing to wear that, whatever you want to do. Willing to do all that all day. And I explained that.
Just think about how you never get this opportunity. You never get this opportunity to evaluate something in real time. It's always a bunch of hypotheticals. Like, can you imagine if Joe Flacco went somewhere else? No, he went to Cincinnati. They have a terrible offensive line.
Yep.
We didn't think they had any running game whatsoever. And we know they don't have a defense.
Chase Brown, wait a minute. When they traded, I thought Chase Brown could be pretty good for him.
Okay.
And they're able to run the ball a little bit. They're not that bad. They're not as bad as they were last year running the ball.
But the book has been on Joe Flacco, and the analytics people were all over this, that you can't run the football when Joe Flacco's your quarterback because he's not a threat. And in today's NFL, you have to be. Well, that was wrong because they have been able to run the football a lot better.
Yeah. And I think probably because, again, he's the threat for defenses going against him. And watching that game yesterday, I got mad at the type of game that was being played. I got mad just watching it, just for the football's sake of the football's sake. But ultimately, I think Joe Flacco's given you a bunch of evidence that you need, and I think it's for both. I don't think it goes for Kevin Stefanski or against Kevin Stefanski. I don't think there's anything that's for Kevin or for Andrew on any of this. I think it makes them both look bad. He's going out there. The offense looks good. How's the offense look good? You got a quarterback that looked completely irrelevant with the Cleveland Browns to start off this season. Why was that? Now I could talk about the reps or anything like that. Okay, well that's still how you run a practice. It's still how you run your program there. So that's still going to be on coaching. Okay, well he doesn't have Jamar Chase. He doesn't have T. Higgins. Okay, well I don't expect you to go out and get Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but I expect you to have something better than this wide receiver room. I expect you to have something better than that. So that's on Andrew Berry. So I watching, if you are a bitter Browns fan upset at what's going on, and I don't know how you couldn't be with a lot of this. I don't know how you watch this and think that Joe Flacco isn't exposing them. How do you not?
It makes everybody in the building look bad.
It does. It does. And I got to tell you, the better he plays, it's just the more at 216-474-0092. If you disagree, fine, go ahead and let me have it. Because they have put me in a very desperate place where I know in shows, in morning shows, I will tell you this, guys, right now, and you need to hold me accountable, and the listeners need to hold me accountable. I'm saying some very desperate things that I don't think I would have believed or I would have said a couple of years ago. When they were coming off the Joe Flacco season in 2023, I wouldn't have said these things. I wouldn't have been so quick to make a change. I wouldn't have been so quick to make a change after they made a change. I mean, I'm in such a... Because, again, I know what I'm missing now. And I desperately want to get back there. And guys, I desperately want to do it with some of the great players that we have on defense. And I can't do it. And I can't find a nice, easy way to do it. Because even when they're bad, I don't think they're as bad as maybe the Raiders. I don't think they're as bad as, obviously, Tennessee's still on that schedule. The Jets are coming up this Sunday. I think they're not as bad as the Dolphins. So it's like, well, now we're going to have a great big conversation on who to do it out of the draft in the future. And we still got to get a conversation about the backup's backup. So there's so many things that I'm desperate about, and it's because of these decisions. And here I go, wait a minute. He helps me reset. Joe helps me see clarity again. Not just being in my Browns bubble, but I look at it and I go, hey, I don't think Zach Taylor's a great head coach. I don't think he's as brilliant as what some people thought he was coming from the Rams years ago. And I think obviously nobody thinks that anymore. But this is an offense that can work. Their defense just sucks. This is something that why can't we even approach anything like this. Why couldn't we do it with Joe? Were we doing the wrong things with Joe? Was it just the weapons? Okay, if it's just the weapons, then guess where else you failed, bud? So he is, as you just said it, this is real-time evaluation of what you get where you can see it proof positive. Here's a guy who played for us in the same season, and it's not about how he's going to take the Bengals off to be Super Bowl contenders or anything like that. He's playing good football. He's able to get the ball going. They have to respect his arm. It opens up the run game. We can't do any of that.
And it has to make you think. Like you talk about trust a lot. Do you trust, the decision makers to make some of these key decisions? This is the big problem. If they were sitting there evaluating Joe Flacco every day, and look, there's no way they saw this. There's no way they saw this. Like Joe looked confused. He was I didn't think it was as bad as other people were making it, because I thought he was putting the ball on receivers' hands at times. But still, he wasn't good enough. Like, he just wasn't. So it totally made sense. Why would you keep a 40-year-old quarterback? Okay, but what I'm saying, Kenny, is if you couldn't see that he still had this in there and that you could attempt to unlock it, then what is it going to be with the next quarterback? Like, people are saying, hey, trade for Mac Jones. Mac Jones had another really good game yesterday.
I told you.
You measured, it's Mac Jones again. He's not.
It's not
the
a
difference
conversation
between
I
going
wanted
to the
to
Super
have.
Bowl or anything.
Sorry, go ahead.
But you're watching Mac Jones.
I'm already desperate.
Yeah, but you're watching Mac Jones and you're like, all right, that guy can conduct an offense. He has enough arm talent that he was a first round draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. So he's had success. He's also had some failures. So, but maybe could he be the next Sam Darnold? Could he be the next Baker Mayfield? Could he be the next Daniel Jones? But I'm like, man, when he goes to Cleveland and doesn't have Christian McCaffrey, like, what is that going to look like? Are we going to be able to unlock the good things with Mac Jones? I've lost a lot of trust in that regard with this team and this offense.
I can't disagree with you on that. And I'm sorry. The bottom may very well. I almost was just running my own strain of thought there. So I know I love to cut you off, but I actually apologize for that one. The bottom may still fall out on Joe Flacco. But if I'm seeing, because the bottom falls out on a lot of guys who are older and really are backups now. So the bottom may fall out on him. But damn it, like, you're seeing that it was at least capable. There was at least something there. I didn't think any of us really felt that Joe was going to finish the season with the Browns. Be nice, but I don't think anybody really thought that. Could I have got to a point further where we were more comfortable, where maybe you could put Dylan Gabriel in there and he doesn't look completely overwhelmed after one start? Because that's what he's looked like over the last three starts. Would it extend the timeline a little bit more? Because now I fear that, what Coach Lance said made tons of sense. Where it's like, I want to see what he does after he fails, after he plays really bad football. Let's see how he responds to that. Great point. That's a real football coach saying that. That ain't just dummy Ken. But when you get past that, if he goes out there and he plays bad football, am I just putting Shedeur in too early? And then do I trust the people who are leading the charge with Shedeur, meaning the coaching staff? Nobody does right now. And
you can tell, Kenny, even the Shedeur people, as mad as they are about all the conversations, I think they've gotten kind of quiet over the last 2 weeks because they're like, oh boy, if this is his NFL opportunity, I might rather have him sit the rest of the year and go somewhere else.
I always point over there like Jonathan still sits there. But Jonathan and I, Jonathan's a way bigger Shedeur guy than I, and everybody knows, I like him. I like him. He'd have to be a magician. He would have to be Tom Brady. And I don't know if Tom Brady would be Tom Brady had he had started out with that. I mean, he has to be a sorcerer once he takes over this football team. Because, I want to see him. But damn, I'm going to have my reservations. I'm going to be nervous about the situation he's taken over. And whether or not he's going to be set up for success, because I have the lack of trust in the roster building, and I have the lack of trust in what's going on, and I'm getting more and more evidence of things working out with other players around the league. And I ain't just talking about the guy down in Tampa. 216-474-0092. Herb in Cleveland. You're next up on the Fan. Hello, Herb.
Fellas, what's going on?
Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with everything y'all saying, man, but I'll put it together. I know what we need to go to the next level.
What's that?
We need competent quarterback play. We need 3 new pieces on the offensive line.
Yeah.
We need a number 1 and a number 2 wide receiver.
Yes.
And another Myles Garrett. And we in there.
Well, now wait a minute. So I know he's joking now. For a second, I thought you were going to. Let me ask you this. All right. How do I do it piece by piece? Do I just focus on quarterback now and then I build up from there?
Man, Mac Jones, like y'all took all the words right out of my mouth. Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, they all are competent quarterbacks. Even Carson Wentz. Like, if we could get somebody that could just run the offense and play complimentary football, that everything else will take care of itself, because I feel like the defense is so strong right now. Like, week by week, they getting weaker and weaker, man. And that's what it boils down to, man. We're not playing complimentary football. We got the quarterback throwing passes from the end zone for 2 points for the other team. Like, it's insane. We need competent quarterback play, and that's real. And maybe we need to simplify the offense a little bit. Like, look at Flacco. He's down there. Like, look, that one play where Jamar Chase ran the comeback and Yosevich ran the post over top of that, you seen two defenders come down onto Jamar Chase and left Yosevich wide open. That's not a hard read. Shador Sanders can make that type of read.
Well, this is where I kind of disagree. This is where hold on, Herb. I think they've tried to simplify it. Remember, you had Quinshon Judkins back there. And I think that they did a lot of simple things because they want to try to get him, and they got to get him worked up because he missed camp. And so they're trying to get him worked into there because they know that he can be a bell cow for you, and he's done a good job of what he's been able to do. But damn, if everybody can just know and they can load the box, I mean, he ain't Nick. He's not going to fall in his prime. He's not going to fall forward and get you 4 yards right off the rip. So exactly. So you did have a guy. I mean, this is what kind of highlights how good Nick Chubb was. Yeah, maybe some of these other quarterbacks weren't that good, but man, he could make a lot of guys look good because you had to respect the run so much. You had to find some guys that were open. Exactly.
30-yard break-offs.
Herb, thank you very much for the call. Like, you see how good a great running back can be, and Quinshon's really good, but he ain't Nick in his, at least not yet. He ain't Nick in his prime. And so when you got this rookie that you have to throw out there to get any talent on the field whatsoever, yeah, you're playing with your arms behind your back. And I don't think it's going to get any better by the end of this year, so that makes me nervous for when Shador takes over. 216-474-0092. It's already, guys, I've never said any of this was fair even to Dylan Gabriel, by the way. I'll never claim that.
Well, we're getting asked, like Todd on X says, does Flacco looking good mean that maybe Gabriel isn't as bad as we think? Everybody looks bad in this offense. That'd be the one way you could hold out. The one last thing you could maybe say about Dylan Gabriel.
I think you're right about that. Donald in Cleveland. Hello, Donald.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Look, everything you said, you're spot on the money with this. But I was doing a little research, and I was looking at Kevin Stefanski's offense when he was in Minnesota. And actually, when you look at it, it's the same exact offense. He hasn't picked no new plays and star plays. He has to scheme people open. And like you say, what quarterback has looked good under him? What players have we got in the free agency, has came to Cleveland and looked better in this offense? I just can't find it.
It has been very relegatory. Everything has been held back and kept down.
And then when the offense was looking good, I think Ken Dorsey was calling plays.
No, they didn't. I mean, you could be critical of Kevin if you want to. I don't think it looked any better with Ken. I think it looked worse. Amazingly.
What was the yards per game? What was the points per game?
Oh, I have no idea. I started getting blind drunk during that time, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I mean, Donald, I can't tell you right off the top of my head. I just go, and thank you very much for the call and having fun there. If we're I don't want to have an argument about Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski. I think right now we'd be fighting in a gutter with how this offense is going right now. I thought it would get a little bit better without Ken Dorsey. It's gotten worse, and it wasn't that great to begin with. And because you are seeing, who down in Tampa, because you're seeing right now, and again, he's playing well. They're not going to make the playoffs, but he's playing well. And I don't know how long he's going to be able to do it. But you got two guys playing well, one playing at a very high level. And, well, Ken, he's got Mike Evans, and he's got this, and he's got that. Okay, again, none of this absolves Andrew Berry of the responsibility. None of it. So you better figure it out. And I can't believe if they're able to stay after this year, I can't believe there's going to be any thought that they are going to get this right, that there is going to be some confidence, other than we're just moving on to another year. We might get lucky. But as far as real confidence, no, I don't think that that's going to happen. Craig in Akron. Craig, hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi, Craig.
So I want to say you will never know the ceiling of any quarterback without getting them talent and coaching around them. We've seen it throughout history. I'm going to get persecuted for this, but this is absolutely true. Tom Brady's first 6 years, pull it up, never threw for more than 20s for touchdowns. 7th year, got Randy Moss, threw for 50 touchdowns. Randy Moss had 24 of them. Go look it up.
I don't need to look it up. I don't need to fight you over it. You could have made it up right off the top. But if you're trying to make a point that says that the players aren't good enough around him to really evaluate the guys, no, I can't disagree with you on that. Kevin doesn't get one side of the blame, and Andrew doesn't get the other side of the blame. You get to share it all when things are this bad, and you're watching other teams do well yesterday.
To be honest, I don't like the play calling. I don't like these double and triple tight end sets. You're not getting enough speed on the field to spread the field. And then what's the biggest gripe? We're not getting it down the field. Well, if you got slower players who don't accelerate as good, doesn't that kind of affect getting it down the field?
I think it would, and my only retort to that, and I don't know if this is what he would tell you, Craig, thank you very much for the call. Like Kevin would say, I can't make guys do something they're not capable of doing. So I have a couple of fast guys, but if I don't have a bunch of burners, I still have to execute, so that's why I have to go with a bunch of heavy sets. That's the only thing I could think of. And that's just, and me saying that for him to Craig, that just becomes an excuse. 216-474-0092. Daryl Ryder, 820. Coming up at 8 o'clock. The homecoming that you've all been waiting for. And whether or not you were really watching on Saturday night. But we go to About Last Night, and Donovan Mitchell says the Cavs are making progress. But is it the right kind of progress? It's coming up in About Last Night in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Anthony Lima for Florida.
Baskin and Phelps. Weekday mornings starting at 10.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. And we got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Last night was a good one over at the arena as the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Atlanta Hawks in a Sunday night matchup. A very good night for Donovan Mitchell, 37 points in the Cavalier victory. And Donovan, after the game, saying that despite the Cavaliers at 4-3 on the season, the team's still making some good progress.
Would it be great to be 6-0 or 7-0, wherever it is? Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, we're learning and getting better. Like, defensively, we're playing well. We still got to find ways to get on the boards. Like, those are different things. But just seeing the offense, continue to play with pace, continue to play with the pass, that's all part of the process and building habits.
Now, even though Donovan says they are making progress, are they making the progress that you guys want to make them early on this season?
Well, I have to give away to him. I mean, he's the leader of the team, and he's the guy who knows the basketball implicitly. So if he says that they're making good progress, I think that he would see it from a better point. I do. That actually calms any fears that I had a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean,
calms it a little bit down. But
look, they're nowhere near as polished as they were last year, nor would they be without Darius Garland. So you're seeing all sorts of crazy lineups, and it has been, from one game to the next, especially, the game that they didn't have Donovan Mitchell. Luke Travers was getting time. I mean, it was just a barrage of different lineups. So that to me is kind of fun. See who plays together. You're kind of finding things out about certain guys. A lot of people have said they've really enjoyed the Lonzo Ball experience because he does a lot of little things. I do not understand his shot selection. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd like to rein that in a little bit. I don't understand why he's never been a great three-point shooter. I don't know why he's shooting outside of even Donovan Mitchell's range. But, right now, Donovan's just kind of having to carry them. I mean, he really is. Because Evan's not ready yet. I mean, unfortunately, Evan's doing a lot of really good things out there, but he's nowhere near ready to be a takeover guy.
The Cavs update brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside. I mean, there's different things that they have here. They have iced tea and vodka, lemonade and vodka, iced tea and lemonade and vodka, iced tea, lemonade, and vodka, strawberry lemonade and vodka. Go ahead, try them all. They're fantastic. Surfside, brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside. Your Cavaliers update, yes.
Going from there to some of the games yesterday. No Browns because of the bye week, but one of the games we talked about much earlier in the show, the Bengals. Heartbreaking for Cincinnati, a loss to the Chicago Bears at the end on the Caleb Williams pass to Loveland. This is Chase Brown, the running back for the Bengals, after yesterday.
We just got to play complementary football. Like, we put the ball in the end zone and go up a point at the end, finish the game. Like, just end it. That's what we need to do. Just end the game. Like, make them get us the ball back, let us go to 22 victory, and let's end the game. Like, that's how I feel. We just got to finish. I think that's like what you go into this bye week thinking and kind of repeating to yourself is just finish these damn games.
And that's just what he's saying to the media.
He's saying it. I mean, that's one side of the ball that's very upset with the other side of the ball. They made Lou Anarumo a scapegoat last year. That is a Duke Tobin problem right there. You have not been able to give what your defense needs. I think the Trey Hendrickson conversation picks up a little bit. Now, I'm not sure how much it can really pick up, but that is just a horrific performance by that defense. And you look at what they have. In the same play, 2 of the 3 main keys to winning a football game are violated. Okay, you have turnovers, explosive plays, tackling. Lack of tackling led to a big-time explosive play, led to the touchdown. It was already in field goal range when Colson Loveland caught the ball. But then you lead to those 2 things, and Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, that offense, they have had enough. There is a wall in the middle of that locker room right now.
And there's still so many games that it feels like they're done. And now to even bring back Joe Burrow this year, I mean, he's going to want to play.
What's their record now? What's their record now? Are they 3-6?
They are 3-6.
Oh, they're 3 wins. 6. Yeah, I mean, what's okay?
And we said you have to have 10 wins right now in the AFC to make the playoffs.
So they have a bye week. No, that's a real conversation they're going to have. I think we should probably ask that around the AFC North coming up on Wednesday. At Pittsburgh, home against New England. At Baltimore, then Buffalo. That's a rough schedule ahead. You don't get to the Dolphins, Cardinals, and Browns until December 21st.
Taylor's definitely getting fired, by the way. Right? He's definitely getting fired. They can't bring that back.
This is the Cincinnati Bengals, sir.
I mean, all the AFC North coaches are apparently on the hot seat, according to some people.
I think Zach Taylor's only halfway through his tenure. It's not.
You guys knew I had to fit in some World Series stuff from this weekend because for the second consecutive year, the Dodgers World Series champions and a heartbreaker for the Blue Jays. It's great for the Dodgers, and it's great for Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, who after the game were asked this on Spectrum Sportsnet LA. Keep in mind, these guys were on the 2020 Tampa Bay Rays team that lost to the Dodgers in the World Series.
It's unbelievable, but we chased this in 2020. We lost to it, and now we on this team.
I know. It's incredible. You can't be enjoying them, baby.
They've sent us into a lockout,
That's
right?
A bad laugh.
Yeah.
This is going to send us into a lockout? Probably.
I'm all for it at this point. I can't take the low spending of the certain owners anymore. I can't take the $5 billion that the Dodgers spend on certain guys when they bat 220 in the World Series and let 3 games slip away against the Blue Jays, still find a way to win. Just give it to me at this point.
We kind of danced around this over the last few weeks. The Dodgers are not the problem with baseball.
They're not.
It's the teams at the bottom that are the problem with baseball. The Dodgers take advantage of what they have based on location, based on their market size, everything. They do what's necessary to try to win. You know, it was the George Steinbrenner maxim when it came to the late 90s and early 2000s. Finally, he just decided, you know what, I can spend and I'm going to spend, and I'll make the money up on the back end. And that's what the Dodgers have done. They're not the problem. The problem is, I can't say it's the Dolans because it's a well-run organization. Okay? It is. It's well-run. Those are good baseball players that if you spent, maybe some of those baseball players can stay with you. Of course, by the way, I say that, no, it wasn't like anybody was screaming and up and down about Miles Straw and Ernie Clement for crying out loud, so let's not go too crazy here. But I think outside of Cleveland, you go to a lot of places where they just open up the gates, dust off the seats, and come on in. And that is not a sustained... People want winning. More than ever, people want winning. It's what you can get for your money. They want to be winners. They want to have a good experience, and they want to be winners, and it's not just enough to just enjoy America's pastime.
What I'm wondering is, everybody is talking about a potential work stoppage, but then I hear that the teams on the bottom all get $100 million in rev share. So who's forcing the stoppage? Who's not happy with the setup then?
I would say that the owners are probably still not happy with the setup, just about the player. Well, I would think probably the bottom dwellers.
But that's what I mean. If all I hear every day is that owners like the Dolans and what's going on in Pittsburgh, they get $100 million in revenue share. So what's the problem?
It doesn't. But
then why would they also be the owners to want to lock out?
When has anybody ever wanted to admit that they are the problem?
Yeah, but what's the lockout? What are they trying to achieve with the lockout?
I think they're trying to achieve a salary cap. I don't necessarily know if they want to achieve a salary floor, which is probably what you're going to need.
That's what I mean.
But they want a cap. But again, they're the problem, but nobody who's the problem really wants to admit that they're the problem right off. So the bottom dwellers, the smaller markets don't want to admit that. But yeah, man, like you probably need a cap, but you're going to need a floor too.
So then that's what I'm saying. Is business as good as what the people that criticize the Dolans every day, and they're like, you're just pocketing all this money. Well, if they were pocketing all this money, then they would never want to stop a stoppage. They wouldn't want that at all. They like the setup. They like the system. So which is it? I'm just hearing some hypocritical people when they argue this that claim they think the Dolans are mopping up like never before and just not spending it on the ball club, but yet they would want a work stoppage and change the system of which they're benefiting. I don't understand.
But hey, I'm not talking about the Dolans.
It doesn't make sense. But that's what I'm saying.
Again, you're getting major push from...
And same thing in Pittsburgh.
But you're getting major push from these other organizations. I'm saying you can't use the Guardians as an example because the organization is proven. No matter what we want to say, it's proven to be a pretty successful organization. They just haven't won it all, which is unfortunate. Some of it's luck, but what are you going to do? Yeah.
That's it for last night.
You want to continue this when we come back?
Yeah, we can.
All right. That and Shador went home to take care of his father, or to go see his father, I should say, when he needed it, when he was giving up 50 points again. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work, where Daryl Ryder is going to join us at 8:20 on The Fan.
QC.
7 right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
If the Browns make a move, you'll hear it here first. The NFL trade deadline is 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Get all of the latest news from around the league on your flagship home for Cleveland Browns football.
This penalty's declined.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Anthony Dolan sticking up for the Dolans again. Here he is. Come on. Stick up for your guy.
Well, look, the Guardians are always like, we dump all the money that we make back into the team. That's what they say every time. And nobody believes that. And nobody opens up the books.
Do you believe that?
I don't know what to believe. I'm being dead honest with you.
He does not recall.
I do not know what to believe because if it is the case that the people that hammer them, that they're getting the $100 million in rev share and they're just floating on $1,000 bills every day. They're just making so much money. Why would they want a work stoppage? Why would they want to change the system?
If I were them, I'd just spend a little bit more once in a while just to shut everybody up. If that were the case, to be frank with you, no, I think honestly, like that, if that's what it is, then that rev share should be that. If it's like $100 million there, it's like, okay, you got to spend $100 million. That's the minimum. Now, what did the Guardians spend this last year? Just under 100?
Nothing.
No, well, right now they'd be at what, $60 million with the contracts that are coming off or something.
Yeah, I think it's even less than that.
It's Jose and like 5 other guys, and then that's it. Listen, I hate using the Dolans as an example here because I think they are different from a lot of the others. The typical small market. They get looped into that. I go, no. I'm not going to use the Marlins and Colorado. Colorado spent a lot of money. They tried to on Nolan Arenado. Yeah, that was years ago. But I'm not going to use the Marlins in the same sentence and the Pirates in the same sentence as the Guardians. I'm not going to do that. I don't think they do things nearly as flimsy or haphazardly or any of that stuff. Like it's such a weird team to criticize. And when they had a 10-game losing streak earlier this year, I criticized. When they had a 7-game losing streak this year, you couldn't help but criticize. There were a lot of things to get upset about. But they still, and you could say, well, it's a product of their division. All right, well, the division's the division. They were able to take care of their business. All right, yeah, if they were playing at a different division, ifs and buts and all that other stuff. They're a team that has been successful. They haven't been over the top. So regrettably, and that's what people care about. They care about competing for championships, and they want to really feel that you could compete for a championship. That's where the ire is with the Guardians. And I think it makes people feel so bad because they're upset because you can't get over the hump, but you're looked at as the model organization. Because people look at it and go, you guys are seeing this, like the Buster Olneys and the Tim Kirkchens and everybody, they look at us and they go, you guys are seeing it all wrong. You're sitting over here jealous of the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets who are spending all this money. Yeah, the Dodgers are getting what they paid for. The Dodgers are maximizing everything. You were better than the Mets this year. The Mets spent $760 million on one guy, and the fans thought he was half-assing it 2 weeks into the season. Like, you get more for it. So I don't use the Guardians in that example. However, they are one. They are one. I think they're an outlier. I think that people want to know what's going on where we can make this more equitable and make it more like the NFL. And sometimes maybe even to the detriment. Because you've talked about it before. Where are the stars in the NBA?
Well, the World
Series. Where are the stars in the NBA?
Yeah.
Where everybody now has a chance. Where are the big need to see players in the NBA that used to play? They used to play for your marquee names. They used to play in LA, in Chicago, in New York. Now it's spread out. I think it's better for the overall health of the sport, but there are people who definitely fight me on that,
when you've
including
had like
you to a degree.
seven straight different winners or whatever in the NBA. It feels like the NBA is more like the old NFL that we knew. So the thing that I can't get over when I am on the message boards, when I'm debating with people online, like it was very interesting because baseball had this amazing World Series that had it all. There's no way, forget about a baseball fan. If you're a sports fan and you just found the World Series, you would be invested over the course of 2 weeks. So many storylines emerged, and there's so many different types of games, and so many just huge titanic moments with the series hanging in the balance, where both teams thought they'd lose or both teams thought they'd win, and so it had everything. It was amazing theater. But I just wonder, because I see people saying, well, other teams can spend money too. It's like, yeah, great. That doesn't make me feel better. That doesn't make me feel better. And I just wonder if baseball is reduced to, you watch your team all year, and then if it's a good World Series, good, I'll watch it.
But I think that's what a lot of things are.
It'll never be the NFL. And quite frankly, like as down as people are about the NBA, it'll never be the NBA where you talk about other teams. You only talk about your team, and then maybe if you can get invested in a World Series, great. That's just so different from the other two big sports.
Well, I think they can make this easier because I think they can make it more equitable. Now, is that realistic? I'm not sure. The realistic part of that is probably a work stoppage that takes a long time to pound out, because you're going to have two sides that are definitely in on this, and you're seeing these stories that are breaking every single day, and they're not like big time, like earth shattering, stop the news and do this, but there's little things, if you've noticed here and there. The conversations about Rob Manfred and certain agents and things like that are not starting to add up the way that fans think they should add up, and rightfully so. But when you bring up the overall interest to it, I think it just goes to show you that, yes, you are more than likely, because this is where our tastes are going, football owns it. No matter what, it seems that the football cannot do anything wrong. We bitch and complain all the time. College football, the same thing. We complain all the time about all the things that the NFL butts its nose into, and we just want to watch more. And we complain all the time about the super conferences in college football, and then noon comes around and they kick off. And you know what? I know that a lot of Ohio State fans have a gripe with playing every damn game at noon. The place still had 106,000 people in the building on Saturday. They were all excited for Buckeye football. And I said, man, you could have played that at any time of day, and there's going to be that many people there to see them try to go beat Penn State and beat them up bad. Like, it's fish in a barrel when it comes to football. The other sports, I think you watch your own team, and that's it. And like hockey fans, I would imagine, this is me guessing, you're watching a lot of your own team, and then you're watching the playoffs and the Stanley Cup final. In basketball, I'm watching a lot of Cavs. I like the NBA, so I'm going to turn on something that's not football in January and February and things like that. College basketball, if you're a college basketball fan, if you actually are, you're following your own team, and that's about it. And then you get the March Madness. The playoffs are there. Like, that's what it is. Football's the only one. You could still make it a little bit easier for you and get your fans to get more people's attention by being able to keep some of your stars, so you don't have to worry about being a farm system for anybody else. Because that's what the NBA, I think, is doing a good job of stopping a lot of markets. Maybe you disagree with me on this. Stopping a lot of markets from just being the starting point for guys before they go to LA or somewhere else. And that's because of the second apron and everything there.
Yeah, they fixed it. They fixed it. The NBA absolutely fixed the thing that people said they hated the most about it.
And so they did it. And I know that you've said sometimes to their detriment, but I think that there's a lot more general interest in every city to their own team instead of the traveling road show that it's been for a long time, where stars played in certain cities and they just came around. And I think baseball could do the same.
I just don't think baseball's ever going to be a big driver of discussion in terms of the offseason unless you're in New York or LA. I just don't think
even if they have
the hot stove, the hot but that's just not happening.
If they have a cap, then they get
I'm
that.
sorry, I don't mean to be dismissive. I just think there's 0% chance of the cap happening in baseball.
Do you think, well, wait a minute, there's no chance of a cap, there's no chance of a floor?
I don't think so. No, I think...
Oh, then there's no point of having the conversation if you really believe there's no chance of any of that happening.
I just haven't seen any kind of motivation from the sport to do that.
Because one of the things that football does very, very well is that everybody thinks their team has a chance at free agency to go out and get guys. Whether or not you really do or not, that's one thing. I think the NBA, the trade deadline used to be a big deal. Free agency was a big deal. I think it's changed a little bit, but I still think the offseason is a big deal to a lot of fans. Major League Baseball, it's like
there's no hot stove discussion.
Again, I bring up Juan Soto again. He was the topic of baseball all winter long. We didn't care. You knew there was no chance.
No. And so it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing with Scooble.
Yeah.
This offseason.
There you go. What were you going to say there? Oh, nothing. 216-474-0092. Yeah, I personally, that's just, if it keeps going that way, that's the way it's going to be. But I think they can make it the offseason, which I think brings in more fans. I think they can make the offseason a little bit bigger with coming to that agreement. Tom and Menor, hello.
Hey, guys. Yeah, baseball will never have a cap. They'll never have a floor because they just can't do it. I mean, you got 3 or 4 really good teams that could spend a ton of money. New York, L.A., both New York teams, the Dodgers, I don't know, maybe one or two other ones, but they make the money on the TV. The other teams don't have a chance in hell to make it with TV revenues. It's not even close. So there's no way these teams could go in there and say, hey, the players are going to say, we need a floor if we're going to have a cap. They can't do it. There's just no way that they can do it. There's only 4 or 5 teams in the whole entire league that can do it, and there's just no way. So you'll never see a cap in baseball, ever, unless they do something with the TV revenues. Yes Network makes more money than the entire American League combined with all the other teams. They probably make more money. So the Yankees are always going to have the money. They have the highest ticket sales. They have the highest TV revenue. You can't touch them. The whole entire league together is never going to meet what the Yankees
So,
do.
Tom, what is to put it in perspective, has that impacted your fandom of baseball? Not the Guardians, or maybe, hey, tell me where you're coming from in general.
I think in baseball, you have to draft well, and you have to have a good front office. And that's what we're so lucky at here in Cleveland. I mean, we do have a very good front office. We do draft somewhat well. I mean, I don't think we draft the best, but we do draft somewhat well. And we're able to make different deals and stuff like that and keep the team relevant. And I think that's number one. You got to make the team relevant. You got to win. You got to bring, like Baskin. Baskin's like, I want to just see a winner, right? I just want to be able to, in September, to say, hey, I have a chance. Whereas the Pirates don't have that. The Pirates don't have that type of front office. So I think in baseball, it's more like you better get good executives in there and people that know what they're doing in baseball people to have a chance. Or the other thing would be is I would take all the power teams and say, and the owners get together and say, look, you guys have to be in your own division. You guys have to have your guys' own division, and only 2 playoff spots come out of that division. And then that way you could kind of even somewhat the field, I guess. But then again, you're not getting the best of baseball, right? Because if the other 2 teams have really good players and stuff like that, then they're not going to the playoffs because they have the Yankees and the Dodgers ahead of them, and the Mets don't make it, or someone else. You know what I mean? So there just can't be a cap unless they change the TV revenue around. There can't. But that's why the NFL is so good with the cap, because everybody gets the same amount of money from the TV networks. The only difference is the local networks, the local stations, like here in Cleveland, probably doesn't make as much as the local guy with the Giants or the other big.
And you don't have, and Tom, thank you for the call, but that's where I think that in a lot of ways, I don't know what they do with like Yes Network and SNY and things like that. I think that that's a totally different animal there. I think Tom's totally right about that, 100% right. Because a lot of places like Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, you can go on and on and on. Milwaukee, I mean, how many are really able to provide television money that's going to be able to sustain that? I'm not sure. That's why you'd have to have, I mean, those owners got to get together and have some sort of a stoppage there to be able to negotiate, to bring it back to the table, to have some sort of a cap and floor. Because I still don't know if this is ever going to be sustainable enough to make it competitive for the general fan. 216-474-0092. Trey Wingo going to join us coming up at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that Trey Wingo. Talk Browns with him. And are the Browns got their iron in any fires? Not about trading people, but bringing people in. Daryl Ryder joins us in 5. Whether or not we're going to be welcoming in any new Cleveland Browns this week on The Fan.
It's Anthony.
versus the Steelers now, 5-3. Guardians left fielder Stephen Kwan won his 4th consecutive Gold Glove. The winners got announced last night. Kwan, the first in franchise history to win a Gold Glove in his first 4 seasons. Be sure to catch Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Cardinals. Coverage starts out at 7 right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Let's welcome in Daryl. He's brought to you by Shabin Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Hello, Daryl.
Hello, boys.
Wonderful to see you. Wonderful to hear you. Should we be making moves towards adding to this Browns team, or should we sell?
I would try and add an offensive tackle and a wide receiver, and preferably a wide receiver that's more than 6 feet tall.
Okay, that's easier said than done. So, are there any names at all, or are you just saying that that's where you'd want to go?
No,
I put you on the spot there, but
yeah, I just think that that's where the priorities should be, and you know, I don't think that the Browns need draft picks. They need players at this point. So it would be great if Andrew Berry could pull off another, Greg Newsome, Tyson Campbell type of trade and bring in a player that can come and help this football team out and get through the rest of this season. I'm not a fan of trading any of the offensive linemen, even the guys on expiring contracts. I just don't think that makes sense when you have young quarterbacks and you're already having offensive line problems as it is. And again, I think that they've got enough future assets. They need some guys that can come in and help them get through this season and help these young quarterbacks out.
Is there any chance, have you heard anything at all, speaking of the offensive line, like you look at Wyatt Teller, is there any chance they could sign Wyatt Teller to something that was kind of like what Jack Conklin signed a couple years ago to keep him around? Because you can't replace all 5. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so, because I think Wyatt's one of the best in the league, especially with this particular scheme that Kevin Stefanski is running here. He's fantastic in the pin and pull game. Last year I think the entire unit struggled just because of what Ken Dorsey was asking everyone to do, and they got away from their bread and butter. But yeah, I absolutely would hope that they can keep Wyatt Teller. I think there's a pretty good chance that Joel Bitonio will retire after this season, and then obviously they have other decisions they need to make up front. But that is a unit that has struggled with health, more so on the ends, with the tackle situation being what it is with Conklin, as well as DeJuan Jones now being lost for the season. That is a tremendous area of weakness for this offense.
All right, Daryl, so how did you watch the NFL yesterday? We started the show kind of bickering about our passion for the league when the Browns are this bad. What was your Sunday like?
I was channel surfing and enjoying the good football that was to be watched. Watched the Colts lose to the Steelers. I watched like 10 minutes of the Sunday night game because it got out of hand so fast. Kansas City Buffalo was entertaining as well. It is amazing how different the sport of professional football looks when you're not watching the Cleveland Browns try and play it.
Well, I feel differently about it because now I've seen the Browns be competitive twice in the last 5 years.
Right.
And so I know what I'm missing. So there's like I feel so down, and I watched it yesterday because I'm supposed to, but I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't like it.
Well, the Joe Flacco thing, it just drives you nuts because he goes to Cincinnati and he's playing the way he did in 2023 for the Browns, which I think is an indictment of both Kevin Stefanski's offense as well as the personnel that Andrew Berry put together on that side of the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joe Flacco is making the Browns look rather incompetent, and you basically gave him to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, fortunately, I guess, the Bengals are losing still, despite Joe Flacco going down there and playing as well as Joe Burrow normally would, because their defense is just, it's a wet paper bag. They can't stop anybody, and you got wide receivers walking off the field bickering about needing to get one more stop and things like that. But again, I just think that, and I thought that that's the way this would go, or I feared that's the way it would go, is Flacco would go to Cincinnati, he would not look like he's washed, and the Browns would look completely foolish. And here we are, a couple weeks later, the Browns look really foolish. They look incompetent, as they usually do, both in the front office as well as the coaching staff.
Yeah, the thing is, they're not going to say that they thought he was washed. They're just going to say, well, it didn't make any sense at this stage. Another team needed him. They were going to give up an asset for him. What my confusion is, like, I just have zero trust that we'll be able to, pick out the next quarterback. Like, how will they know if it's the offense, the quarterback, or the situation they're in?
Yeah, I mean, I have zero faith that Andrew Berry's the guy to pick the franchise quarterback.
All right.
Zip, nada. I don't. Just as a lot of people don't have any faith that Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. I've said it time and time again. If you fire Kevin, you better fire Andrew. They're joined at the hip. They're in this together. If you keep Andrew, you got to keep Kevin. I don't think that you just Kevin goes and Andrew gets to stay. Because, again, Andrew Berry's responsible for the offense that Kevin Stefanski got to work with, the personnel. Okay, Cedric Tillman comes back, but you've got national analysts on game broadcasts making fun of the fact that your wide receiver core is full of a bunch of short guys that can't catch footballs. Like, Andrew Berry's the one that built the wide receiver room. Andrew Berry's the one that fortified, I put that in air quotes because he didn't really fortify the offensive line, but he's, you got two offensive tackles with injury history, and I know you don't want to have that negative mindset of, something can happen, but your job as GM, plan for the inevitables. Well, big shock. Jack Conklin's missed time with injuries. Big shock. DeJuan Jones missed time with injuries. I think Andrew Berry did a terrible job this offseason when it comes to the offense, but maybe that's by design. And, oh, by the way, your number one wide receiver on this team isn't really a number one wide receiver. And that's no shade at Jerry Jeudy, but he's a number two. He's being asked to do things that he shouldn't be asked to do. He's a number two wide receiver. I think Andrew Berry is just as culpable for the offensive incompetence as Kevin Stefanski.
Well, that was what I was going to follow up with, just to make sure that it sounded like you were saying you thought Andrew Berry was more responsible, but at the end you kind of said, they're both. So
they share in it. I don't think Kevin, granted he hasn't been given a lot to work with, but I think that better job could be done working with what you have.
All right. So, Daryl Wright, our Browns beat reporter right now. So, Jacksonville wins that game yesterday. Where would you predict right now those two first-round picks are going to land?
Well, Browns going to have a top 5 pick, and I think Jacksonville got a good shot to make the playoffs. I was hoping that it was going to be in the mid-teens at worst, but probably going to be late teens if they make the playoffs. So, but still, having an extra first-round pick obviously is a good thing and gives Andrew Berry some ammunition to be able to maneuver, around the draft board if he chooses to do so to try and get one of these college quarterbacks who I don't know that anyone's really blowing anyone away as far as being the clear-cut number one prospect. Surefire can't-miss prospect in this class, but Nick Padone and I had the conversation yesterday. You almost wonder if they might be better off punting on one of these quote-unquote top college quarterbacks, filling some holes like, drafting an offensive lineman, which they haven't done in a little while, and then another position of need, and then finding another bridge quarterback and, maybe set yourself up for 2027. But the problem you have there is, well, you don't exactly kick the culture of losing, because if you keep punting on the whole quarterback thing, that means that you're wanting to be positioned to be able to get one of those guys.
Daryl, there's been a lot of debate over the last week about Mason Graham and the season he is having. There are some websites that analytically have him as just shy of like a dominant interior lineman. There are others that says that he is not so good. So where are you on Mason Graham and that experience so far, and whether or not that was the right pick?
Yeah, I don't think he's having, defensive rookie of the year type of season. If anything, I think that'd be Carson Schlesinger, who's, having that before he suffered the ankle injury there. But I think Mason's played well. And Jim Schwartz likes to say, you can't just grade a guy based on the box scores. And granted, Mason Graham's not exactly lighting up the box scores, but I think he's playing well within Jim Schwartz's defense, and I think he's helping, Myles Garrett out quite a bit too. So I don't have any regrets or any criticism for the move that Andrew Berry made, trading down, letting Jacksonville draft Travis Hunter, who, it hasn't exactly lit it up down in Jacksonville as a rookie, and now he's banged up a little bit. So I think hindsight being 2020, Andrew Berry made the right move in April.
Daryl Ryder, brought to you by Scheib and Jewelers. Okay, what about like a conversation that people don't want to have, but we're going to have? What about like a Mac Jones there for next year? Then are you already considering him?
Yeah, I mean, I am considering any type of a reclamation project right now, and then part of me is kind of wishing that they would have stuck with the Kenny Pickett plan, but unfortunately, he got hurt in training camp, and that changed some things up there philosophically for the Browns, but. They went in, and you felt like, okay, it was going to be down to either Joe or Kenny for the starting job. They ultimately went with Joe. That lasted 4 weeks before they turned it over to Dylan Gabriel, and eventually they're going to turn this thing over to Shedeur Sanders at some point. Deshaun Watson right now is the third rail that nobody wants to touch out there, and understandably so, but I think that, again, depending how the rest of this college football season plays out, I think that we're going to be sitting here 4 months from now, Ken, and we're going to be combing through reclamation project quarterbacks that potentially could come in here and be the quote-unquote bridge to help them. Because, you don't want to have to do this. Last year you were 3-14. This is another long season in the making, and you don't want another 3 years where you have good players on this roster and they ultimately be 3 consecutive lost years again. Next year does need to be about winning some football games. And so, you've seen teams around the league, find these veteran quarterbacks that still have something in the tank, help them win football games and be playoff contenders. And I think that is where the Browns' focus needs to be.
Daryl, we know you are a lover of baseball. What did you think of the level of heartbreak? People were comparing all the heartbreak. Cleveland got brought up in that, certainly, for a couple of our World Series losses. Where did it stack up with what transpired to Shane Bieber and Toronto Blue Jays?
Yeah, I mean, and the irony is there were so many former Cleveland Indians and Guardians on that Blue Jays team as well. You mentioned Shane Bieber. How about Ernie Clement? Setting the record for most hits in a postseason. That guy could barely get playing time here and hit his weight, and he goes up to Toronto, and he's got himself etched in the record books there. Mark Shapiro, of course, former GM and former president of the then Indians and now Guardians, up there as the president and CEO of the Blue Jays. Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. You take 2 or 3 in Los Angeles, you go home up 3-2. You just need to win 1 on your home field, and the Dodgers come to town and take both of those games, and they beat you in 11 innings in Game 7. Very reminiscent of what happened to the Indians there, not only in 1997 but 2016. But it was a great World Series. It really was, and if you didn't watch it, you missed out. It was a very fun World Series to watch, but. It's going to, I think, take the Blue Jays a little while to get over that one, just like it's taken the team here in Cleveland to get over their Game 7 heartbreaks.
I hate to compare the misery. I
agree with you, Ken.
Why does every miserable thing have to be compared to the miserable things that we've had to deal with? Just let them have their own miserable thing.
You have to find out who's more miserable.
Yeah, I don't need to have a miserable off. It doesn't matter to me. No.
Well, you know what? Cleveland still wins because they're the only team in Major League Baseball to lose 2 Game 7s of the World Series.
All right, I'll see you in hell. I've had enough of this conversation.
I'm sorry, Ken.
I've had enough of this conversation.
I'll talk to you guys Friday.
Bye. Daryl Ryder, brought to you by Scheib and Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. I hate that. Hate it. Oh, they lost their World Series Game 7. Was it worse in 2016? 2-1-6-4-7-4. Why? Why do we need to do that every time?
Go back and immediately access your worst thoughts and worst feelings.
Who even asked that?
They lost in 13 seconds in the AFC Championship game. Is that worse than the drive by John Elway? 2-1-6-4-7-4. No.
I don't know why anyone in town would ask that today.
Oh, it's on the sheet. I know it's on the sheet. I just don't know which one said it, so I'm not going to shoot my mouth off.
I have
Did
not.
Mitch what you asked?
Peruse the entire sheet. Mitch, is that a question you were asking today?
It was.
Why did you want to know, Mitch?
Because I think one's way worse than the other.
Which one's... Well, wait a minute. Now I want to know which one's worse than the other. Which one's way worse than the other?
His mic's down.
He can come back maybe and answer that question.
Okay, 216-474-0092. I want to hear from him real quick on that. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and I realized something over the weekend.
A miserable Mitch.
Hold on. It's a good nickname. I realized over the weekend that when someone says desperate times call for desperate measures, they really just want an excuse to do something stupid. Like I do.
Anthony Lima 4. Man.
92.3 The Fan has the most local sports talk in town, and you can be a part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 92.3 The Fan and see if our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I cost everybody in here a World Series ring, so it's pretty. Gotta execute better in that spot, and not let that happen.
So I wanted to bring this up here. There was another thing I wanted to get into when it comes to the Browns, but that was World Series audio from Saturday night.
That was Jeff Hoffman, the Blue Jays closer.
And there was some people who were upset, obviously, because they lost. They were sad. Non-Blue Jays fans, clearly. Do we have the other audio of the guy getting mad? Okay, so what is this? I didn't see this, Lima. You sent it to Mitch. I didn't see it. So this is a terrible setup, but go ahead.
It sounds like something that I absolutely said when I was younger and my favorite team lost something, and you're so bitter about it, and you're like, no, we were the better team. We were the better team. Better team didn't win today. So this is from which network again?
Sportsnet Canada. This is Caleb Joseph.
All right.
Hazel, me and you were in the camera well, and that's where a lot of the players kind of end up exiting. And there were a lot of wet eyes, and I don't doubt them, and I don't blame them for that. And it's going to sound like sour grapes, and I don't really get. I think the better team did not win this series. I think the Blue Jays are the better team, and I feel like they played baseball a certain way that was infectious, that grabbed the attention of the fans. It's disheartening to see that the better team did not win, and that's not to take anything away from the Dodgers, but the Blue Jays, they did so many things correct. They did so many things right, and Lady Luck just did not fall on their watch, and this is a crushing loss. I've spent 18 years in the big leagues, and this is the most devastating loss that I've ever experienced, and I'm not even part of it, but the ups and downs, the twists, the turns that this team took us through the entire season makes this so heartbreaking because, like I've said earlier, you just feel like the baseball gods got it wrong this time, and they normally don't, and I hate it for the guys. It's absolutely devastating, and I guarantee those guys in there are absolutely crushed.
It's no offense to the Dodgers. You just said they weren't the better team and they won. They didn't deserve to win. How else are they supposed to take that? Now, I can agree with his overall sentiment. I think it happens more in baseball than it does in any of the other sports. Every now and then in football, especially in college football, you get a late team woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Well, the
bad day.
Yeah, the most notorious example or whatever would be, I think, Tom Brady losing to the Giants, the undefeated season.
Yeah, but that's
that year. Did anybody think, I know they beat him at the end of the year too, but I feel like 9 out of 10 times they would have, like David Tyree and the catch. I felt like the better team didn't win, but that's what people love about sports, is that doesn't have to be.
Well, I mean, good God. But I think it happens more in pro sports. It just doesn't happen as much. And I think you can make an argument that it did happen. I mean, there's definitely teams that deserve to win it. I felt that we deserved to win it, certainly in 97.
Mm-hmm.
The Marlins didn't deserve to win that. The Indians deserved to win that. Anyway, Mitch, what was the thing that we brought you in on?
It was the conversation of what was the more heartbreaking loss.
Why did you want to have this conversation?
Because I think Toronto's loss is significantly more heartbreaking than the 2016 Indians loss to the Cubs in the World Series.
Why is that?
For a number of reasons. Number one, Toronto had control of that game. The Indians had never had control of the game in Game 7 against the Cubs because they were leading the whole time. They tied it, and then they eventually lost in extra innings. You had momentum. You had Bo Bichette take the arguably best player of the generation yard for a 3-0 lead. You think you have it from there, and the Dodgers keep creeping their way back in. You're 2 outs away from a World Series, and then Miguel Rojas, who's batting like 150 for the entire postseason. He's on his way out after next year. Probably should retire after this year because he hits that home run. And then Will Smith takes Shane Bieber yard in the last inning. And then you have the chance to win. Alejandro Kirk's double play ends it. That is so much worse than 2016.
Why do I care in Cleveland? Why? Why, as a Cleveland sports fan, do I care?
I think there are some Cleveland fans out there, and understandably so. They're very heartbroken from 2016. But I think this is my hot take. I think the 2016 World Series, the Chicago Cubs were the one team that actually deserved the title more than Cleveland did. And that's no disrespect to Cleveland fans. I'm one of them.
I kind of want to hear his perspective on it.
Well,
yeah,
I kind of do. It sounds like a power rank. He wants to power rank the misery.
But I think that it's weird that you want to have an argument, and do people want to have an argument and say that my heart breaks worse than Toronto fan? Maybe
not on the surface, but if you're a Guardians fan who still has bad memories of that Game 7 when there were so many different things that happened in that night that were just not going to go your way. this is significantly worse because Toronto had it in their hands and they let it go. The Indians never had it in their hand. I don't think. They weren't 2 outs away from a championship against a team that they had been playing better for the first 6 games.
But this is why the entire reason why I hate the whole argument is, do I really want to get in a peeing match over who is more heartbroken? It's a terrible situation for both. I mean, there's always got to be a loser in this situation. We happen to be the one in 2016, but do I really want to get into some sort of argument with Toronto fans or anybody over, oh, mine's worse, mine's
I'm
way
not trying
worse.
to get into an argument with Toronto fans.
It's so depressing and sad. I think it's depressing. I don't want to have depressing conversations all the time. Hell, I'm talking about the 2025 Browns all the time, for crying out loud. I get enough depressing and sadness going on. I don't need to sit there and bring up 16 or all the other things. It's weird.
We also had a bit of a connection here, too, because there's multiple Cleveland players that were on this Blue Jays team. There's some people
he talked about that
were rooting for them throughout the entire playoffs, especially against a Dodgers team that, let's be honest here, they were boring throughout the entire postseason. There was no point where you thought this...
Yeah, but the Blue Jays full of Cleveland players does not make me feel worse for them than I did when our team lost
what I'm saying is
the World Series.
It feels worse than... I'm saying it feels worse than 2016. The Cubs were a better team than you that year, 103 wins.
Why do we care about Toronto fans?
But why do I care about Toronto fans?
I think you can see them in the same boat as what we were in 2016. That is a city that hasn't had the best luck when it comes to championships. The Maple Leafs, one of the storied franchises in the NHL, hasn't made the Cup Finals, let alone once since '67.
I have never heard you this opinionated about sports until
need to move
this.
to Toronto.
I'm kind of enjoying it, to be honest with you, and I'm sorry. I've never heard him have this many opinions.
I agree with you. I think you missed your calling. I wish Strasburg was 40 miles outside of Toronto.
I know some guys up at Sportsnet up there. You want me to give a call?
Sure.
I know Ben, their afternoon show host. I'm not lying. I know you want to go up to Canada.
This is more flame against Toronto than I've ever heard against anything
just
Cleveland.
Such a random thing to do this kind of a deep dive on.
Because there are many.
I've never heard you do this for the Browns.
I saw a number of Cleveland fans.
We're on Cleveland Sports Talk Radio.
Well, you guys are dealing with a certified.
That's why it's random.
Listen, you and I are football guys. He's a basketball guy. This guy over here, Mitch, is a certified baseball guy. I mean, he's all Ohio, for crying out loud. So let's call it what it is. So now you're right in his wheelhouse. This is
all
you're
Ohio,
going to get strong opinion.
not all Ontario.
I just think there's a bit of a connection here because of what we went through in 2016, where we had the opportunity to upstage one of the best teams in baseball. We didn't get it done, but
dry fire.
But the Dodgers didn't deserve it. The Cubs did that year.
Now we did blow
dry fire.
Dry fire.
Let's go blow a 3-1.
All right.
Who are you? You're on the air. Go.
Hello?
You're on the air.
Start talking.
Hey, listen, Mitch, Toronto won back-to-back World Series in 92 and 93.
Yeah, I wasn't even alive for that back then.
It doesn't matter. They won 2 World Series. Cleveland hasn't won one since 48. Come on.
There's a more recent championship in Cleveland, Ohio. There's a more recent.
You got the argument. You won it.
There's a more recent championship in Cleveland than there is in Toronto.
Hello. What's your name? Who are you?
My name is Clarence.
Clarence!
And do your parents have a real fine marriage?
Go ahead, Clarence.
I get that one all the time. Listen, first of all, I want to say I love you guys' show.
Thank you.
I'm 45 years old. I was born in 1980, Cleveland all my life.
All right.
And it's my first time ever calling in. What I wanted to say is that for the fellow who was saying that the Blue Jays Game 7 is worse, I've all due respect, that is asinine. And the reason being, number one, now the number 3 reason is my man is right. Why do we care in Cleveland? Why do we care in Cleveland? But the number 1 reason, number 2 reason. Number 1, we were up 3-1 in that series. Okay, and so if I know Game 7 didn't go like their Game 7, but being up 3-1 and being disheartened like that was unbelievable.
Pretty bad. You said they didn't control Game 7, but they controlled the series. They were up 3-1. Clarence is right.
At no point did I.
Well, let me say one more thing. One more thing that makes it even more heartbreaking. And this one is a mic drop. The reason is also that very night the Cleveland Cavaliers were receiving their championship rings from coming back 3-1 on Golden State. That very night. And then what happened is we lose. We would have been the second city ever to have two of our different sports teams win the championship in the same year. LA being the other team.
Clarence,
They've done it again since.
Did you say that they were receiving their rings that night in Game 7 of the World Series that year?
Well, the Cavs were receiving.
No. Those Cavs players were at the ballpark. They weren't at the arena for the game.
Game 1, they were getting. Game 1, they got. Okay, started their.
We were in game. It was the game 1 of the season. The Cavs, they were receiving their rings as that game was going on. And we remember they had a mess. They made a mistake and missed it.
Game 1 of the World Series was the same night the Cavs got their rings.
Thank you, Clarence.
Game 1 of the
Thank you very much.
We also had a rain delay.
That was awesome. I enjoyed it. Mr. Opinions over here all of a sudden, Mitch, which somebody did get in and goes, well, you're not counting. He's not counting the 2009 World Series that his team won because people are remembering that you're a Yankee fan, closeted.
So, Mitch,
are you still a Yankee fan, or are you not going to mention that?
Will you ever be as worked up about anything else in the future of the show as you were this segment just now?
No.
Probably not on mic, no.
No way. All right, Mitch, thank you for the time. Excellent. Coming up next, Trey Wingo.
I know the weather's getting colder and the mic's getting hotter.
The great Trey Wingo is going to join us on the show from the Straight Facts Homie podcast. Talk Browns, talk trade deadline with him, and has Joe Flacco shown everybody the light about Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Trey Wingo, and 5 on the Fan.
All right, real estate market is something that continues.
latest from Berea and all across the league. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
The Fan is looking for a winner. Enter the code word HANDS at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to OAR 3 Decades Tour with Gavin DeGraw and KT Tunsoul. Friday, September 11th, 2026. Matt Blossom Music Center. Tickets go on sale this Friday, November 7th at LiveNation.com. All from Live Nation and Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
A lot of people, I think, were trying to get in during the last segment because I'm like, man, maybe Mitch was right. A lot of people want to have debates on who was more miserable. I looked then at social media because Mitch is like, well, Cleveland's won a championship more recent than Toronto. And I didn't correct him on it. I didn't think about it. And then I looked at social media during the break, and it was all, the Raptors won in 2019.
Right.
I went, oh, my gosh, it's right. And I was like, I didn't get a chance to call him on
with a Rena player.
Forgot. Someone called him Mississauga Mitch, which is a great, great nickname.
Someone else talked about the Yankees.
Let's go to the hotline, the fan hotline, and welcome in Trey Wingo. He's the host of the Straight Facts Homie podcast. He joins us right now. You know Trey Wingo. You love Trey Wingo, and he joins us right now on the fan hotline. Trey, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are we?
We're doing very well. If you were the Browns, would you be buyers or sellers at this point? Now, I know that probably sounds like a dumb question. They are 2-6. However, Adam Schefter and others have said that the Browns are intending on looking for some young talent out there, guys who are in current uniforms that they can bring in.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to say those things. It's another thing to do them, right? I mean, Jerry Jones says all these wonderful things and then does the exact opposite all the time. I think Cleveland's in a very difficult situation. I would be shocked if they were actual buyers rather than sellers. But then again, what are they selling? They said they're not going to trade Myles Garrett. So what are they selling? And what are they trying to accomplish? Because that's been the thing in Cleveland forever. What are we trying to do? And we're not quite sure anybody knows what the plan is.
Well, that's the hard part for us, Trey, is we're sitting here saying, all right, we need a quarterback. We're going to go through at least four this season, and then who knows what's next. And oh, by the way, we're watching Joe Flacco carve up defenses week in and week out for Cincinnati on another bad team that didn't have a good offensive line, but yet he is looking like a top 5 quarterback all of a sudden. We thought he was washed. So we just don't have a lot of faith right now in the organization or the coaching staff.
You shouldn't. I mean, here's what I would say along those lines. I do think that Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. I do think he's probably going to get fired after the end of this season. You know, he's taken the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs twice. He's been a coach of the year twice. He's not a bad coach. I do think the organization is a house of cards. And I'm not sure, what's the long-term answer here? I don't know the answer to that. The thing about Flacco is it's amazing how much better you will play when you have the chance to throw to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I still can't believe they traded him inside the division. Like, I'm with Mike Tomlin on that. Like, what was the plan there? Like, why did you think that was a good idea? You know, I all summer long, I said I think Joe Flacco should be your starting quarterback, but if you start losing, then you have to turn things over to see what you have in Dylan Gabriel. And eventually, the toxic turning point of every sports conversation, Shedeur Sanders, because no matter what you say about Shedeur Sanders, someone's going to say you are bat bleep crazy for thinking that. So it is remarkable to me how much of a lightning rod this kid has become without ever taking a snap in the NFL.
Okay, I want to ask about Shedeur Sanders here in a bit. Lima's champing at the bit. Let me just get this in real quick before you and Lima say with Shedeur here.
Okay.
Is it a bad move if the Browns were to move on from Kevin Stefanski at the end of the year? Do you think that that's a mistake by the Browns?
No, I don't. And I think that's the nature of the beast. You know, I mean, you don't win, you don't keep your job. It's that simple. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is the biggest reason for all the Browns' problems. I think there are much bigger issues at play in Cleveland.
Okay, because I don't want to call out names and things like that, but we've had some major media figures. I mean, guys who've played the game, but around the game a whole bunch, who have almost kind of used it as a threat towards Browns fans. Like, oh, yeah, you go ahead and you fire him and watch him go somewhere else. He'll get a job next year, and he'll win championships. And I like Kevin, man. I really do, Trey, but I think there's a lot of fans who are more than ready to test that theory.
Yeah, and I think that's the nature of the beast. I mean, it's a bottom line industry, right? Like, for example, it might be the end of the line for Mike Tomlin if they flame out again and don't make a playoff win this season. I'm also convinced that Mike Tomlin will absolutely get a job somewhere else. It might be the end of John Harbaugh in Baltimore if they flame out again this year. And I'm convinced that John Harbaugh will get hired tomorrow. So both things can be true, right? You can say, okay, you watch, Stefanski will get a job somewhere else and he'll be really good. And it also might be time for him to leave the current situation. Those things can both exist in the same sphere.
Trey Wingo, join us now on the hotline. So you mentioned Shedeur, and
I regret it already.
No. You know where this is going. So first of all, I do want to know, because I love the fact that you sometimes play almost media ombudsman with your old place. And what did you think when your old place was having daily debates about the fourth string quarterback of the Cleveland Browns?
It was embarrassing. They did it because they knew his name would resonate and his name would create some sort of rabid frothing at the mouth when it was based on nothing. When it was really based on nothing. There's nothing to suggest that A, he's going to be terrible, or B, he's going to be great. We don't have any data. So it's all just guesswork. It's all just opinions, and opinions are like noses and buttholes. Everybody has them.
And Trey Wingo joining us on the show. So what do you think is the truth about Shedeur, then?
I don't know, and anybody that says they know is lying. That's the bottom line.
Well, maybe they're just wrong. Could they just be wrong?
Yeah, well, right, but I mean, but if you, yes, they could be wrong, but if you say you know, based on what? What are you basing it on?
Gut feeling, to be honest with you. That's about as far as it is.
There it is. There is no empirical data to suggest that he's going to be great or that he's going to be terrible, right? Let's go, and people will say, well, he was the highest rated college accuracy quarterback of all time. I went through the list. Do you want to go through the list of the most accurate college quarterbacks of all time?
Yeah, honestly, yes, please.
Okay, I got to find it, but it's for example, there's only of the top 20. There's only two guys that you would say, wow, for sure.
Are there like two Hawaiian quarterbacks on there?
Yeah, Colt Brennan, Colt Nose, Graham Harrell. I mean, there's a couple of guys I've never even heard of. Now, Joe Burrow is the 12th most accurate quarterback in college football history, and Baker Mayfield was the 15th. That's it. Out of the top 20, those are the only ones that were surefire successes or have been surefire successes in the NFL. Right. And, oh, by the way, Baker took a while to get there. And then people will also say, well, he won the John Unitas Award. Go look at the winners of the John Unitas Award. It's not exactly a list of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now, I want to be clear to people who are now driving into a bridge abutment by listening to me say this in Cleveland, okay? You need to listen to what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting he's going to be terrible. I'm suggesting I don't know. And anybody that says they know is wrong or is purposefully being misleading because there is no information to back up your point.
Well, we've got some headlines from today already. Trey Wingo now.
He's not wrong. Okay, so it's real quick. It's Shedeur, Colt Brennan, Colt McCoy. He had a nice career. Kellen had a nice career as a backup. Kellen Moore, Graham Harrell, Grayson McCall, North Carolina State.
Sure.
Remember him?
Absolutely.
Will Rogers, Brandon Whedon, Case Keenum, Chase Holbrook. That's the top 10.
So you cannot look at me and say, well, he was the number one in this, and then say, well, that's why he's going to be successful. Because read those names again for everybody.
I can't just stop. and by the way, you might lose me for the rest because I'm reading all these names, and now it's just nostalgia all over the place.
It is.
I'm like, oh, man, Seth Doge, all the way down to Greg Ward. Oh, my gosh, goodbye.
One of the greatest. So the only thing I'm trying to get across to people here is you cannot use that as a data point to ensure his success. Now, it doesn't mean he's not going to be successful. I need people to understand that. But when you say that and you say, the Unitas Award winner, It's not a surefire thing in any way, shape, or form. It's not. So nobody knows, okay? Nobody knows. There's no reason. There's nothing to suggest he's going to be great. There's nothing to suggest he's going to be terrible. We won't know until we play him, and then you got to figure it out. Now, why aren't they playing him? I believe, like is in most cases, when you draft someone higher, you give them more opportunities because you have more of an investment in that player. They have more of an investment in Dylan Gabriel because they took him in the 3rd round instead of the 5th round. Now, it's up for a lot of people to decide when that investment they think should be banked and turned to something else, and I think it's fair to have that discussion. But that a guy, people like I actually heard people say they're not being fair to Shedeur. Like, what are you talking about? What does fair have to do with anything? They made an investment in somebody else, right? They made when Kirk Cousins was taken in the 4th round in 2012 and RG3 was taken 2nd overall. Did Kirk get a lot of first team reps? Absolutely not, because they had an investment, bigger investment in the other player. Now, as it turns out, Kirk Cousins had a much better career than RG3. But that doesn't mean the then Redskins and now Commanders were wrong to invest all that time and effort in a guy that they had picked higher. It's the way it works. And the fact that people can't understand that is really beyond me.
All right. Trey Wingo is our guest. So you watched yesterday Kansas City and Buffalo. Who's the better quarterback right now, 2025? Is it Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes is always the answer to there. The problem, here's a really interesting thing. You know what the Chiefs' record is in one-score games this year? 0-4. 0-4. They were 17-0 in their previous one-score games, the longest record in the history of the NFL. What does that tell you? Things change pretty quickly, and you got to find a way to win games. For all the smoke and mirrors and the weird stuff that happened last year with Kansas City, they found ways to get it done. This year, they either steamroll you or they find a way to lose, and that has, I think, much less to do on the quarterback than it does with the way the team is presently constructed. They couldn't stop the run to save their lives yesterday. They absolutely got gashed. They got gashed by tight ends. Chris Jones is a non-factor, quite frankly, this year. I think he has 2 sacks. I think he had a tackle yesterday. Now, you're talking about a Buffalo team that was completely bereft of defensive players, and they stepped up and they won the line of scrimmage. And let me tell you something. Kansas City better find a way to dominate the line of scrimmage in their next game, because after the bye, they go to Denver. Denver leads the league in the most sacks and the fewest sacks allowed. That is whooping ass on the line of scrimmage. And that's something the Chiefs have not been able to do against a good team yet this season.
Trey Wingo joining us here on the show. So, is this year finally the Chiefs do they not make it to the AFC Championship game, or?
Oh, no, I'm convinced they'll be there. I mean, because you don't crown somebody in the first week of November, right? I think they'll find a way to figure it out. But I'll tell you this. I said this on the Straight Facts Homie pod. This 4-game stretch will define their season, because they had the Bills, which they always lose in the regular season, then they always win in the postseason. Then they go to Denver, then they've got Indianapolis, and then they've got Dallas. If they go 3-1 in that stretch, I think we'll be fine in Kansas City. They go 2-2, they go 1-3, then we got real problems. This is the most critical stretch of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs.
The dead cap hit would be paralyzing, but they're probably not going anywhere this year, and they're probably not going anywhere next year. Are the Browns making a mistake by not considering trading away Myles Garrett?
Yeah, organizationally, I can understand why you would. But to what you said, you've been in cap hell because of Deshaun Watson. Now you want to put yourself in cap hell again. And my issue with Myles is, and I think, listen, he's an unbelievable player. What changed from February? What changed? You said you wanted out in February. You said you didn't want to go, by the way, the greatest humble brag of all time. I don't want to go from Cleveland to Canton. That was, to put that in text. It's true, but, way to put it out there. And then they waved $40 million in his face. And he said, yeah, F it, I'll take the money. So I understand your frustration. I understand your passion, but you made your choice. Like the organization didn't shift dramatically. from when you said you wanted out to when you took the money. You took the money, right? So it's hard for me to sit here and watch you be so frustrated after a dominant performance against the Patriots, 5 sacks, the youngest player ever with the most sacks under the age of 30, passing Hall of Famer Reggie White. All of these things are great. You knew what you were doing. You took the money. So when I see your frustration, I understand it. And on one level, as a competitor, I get it. But this is what you signed up for. You've known who this team is and what their DNA is since they drafted you in 2017. So it's hard for me to feel a lot of sympathy there.
Yesterday, Jacksonville kicker, 68-yard field goal. What's happened to the sport I love? This is ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous? Well, no. Hold on. No, see, this is weird. You're not even close to the issue with kickers. Did you see the Oklahoma kicker?
Oh, the shorts. The short shorts.
Thank you.
Yeah, that guy, that's ruining football. Cam Little kicking 168, that's awesome.
It would have been good for 70, too.
Yeah, it would have been. But the Oklahoma kicker should be banned for his short shorts.
They were absurd. They were ridiculous.
Wait. All right, so wouldn't the coach... Okay, who's it on? Is it on the officials because it's supposed to cover the kneecaps? Or is it on the coaches? Because people are going, that's on Venables. That's on him and his staff. Okay.
It's on everybody.
It's on it. We all wear it.
Come on, this is something we can all get behind, right? Whether you love Shador, whether you hate Shador, we can all get behind those shorts are ridiculous.
Why is it a thing now? Why is it a thing now?
I don't know.
Why is 6'7" a thing or was a thing? Thank God that's finally crusted. Who knows why any of this happens? None of it matters anyway.
Not with fifth graders, bud. It is an everyday thing that I have to deal with. Go ahead, Tom.
But the only thing I was going to say is, Trey, they doctor the footballs, or they're doing something different to the footballs than they used to do. Why can't we just kick a normal football? Do you think fans want to see, as opposed to going for it, do you think they want to see coaches opting to go for those types of field goals?
I think the most automatic thing in football right now is Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey. He is a weapon unlike maybe anybody else except Cam Little. So I have no issue with it whatsoever. If he's the best at something, great, go for it. I don't think people. I really, maybe I'm wrong. Are a lot of people clamoring in Cleveland talking about kickers being too good? Is that what's happening there?
No.
There it is.
Thank you. Trey Wingo on the Fan Hotline. His podcast, Straight Facts Homie. Go ahead and listen to it. Pick it up wherever podcasts are available. Trey, thank you for the time.
Guys, anytime.
Trey Wingo on the Fan Hotline. That was awesome.
That was amazing.
That was awesome. Had to dump him once, but that was awesome.
I have the bleep version for later.
Do we? All right. Yeah.
I've been bleeping while you've been talking.
Oh, that's great. All right. I'm getting called out, by the way. I'm not blaming Browns fans. I'm an excitable boy. So we're going to get to that. I'm going to get back to that, what we started the show with today. All that, and anybody who said desperate times call for desperate measures just wanted an excuse to do something stupid. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. KC Roofing, you know what's silly?
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
What changed from February? What changed? You said you wanted out in February. You said you didn't want to go, by the way, the greatest humble brag of all time. I don't want to go from Cleveland to camp. That was, to put that in text. It's true. Way to put it out there. And then they waved $40 million in his face. And he said, yeah, F it, I'll take the money. So I understand your frustration. I understand your passion. But you made your choice. The organization didn't shift dramatically from when you said you wanted out to when you took the money. You knew what you were signing up for, and you took it. I respect that you took the money. It's great. It's like the live golfers. I'm growing the game. Bull, you took the money. So you took the money. You took the money.
That's Trey Wingo with us just moments ago from the Straight Facts Homie podcast. You watched him on ESPN for a very long time. He was on the Fan Hotline. Excellent stuff from him. Well, that's where I always say, like, there is, and not sympathy. I think we're getting the emotions wrong. There's not sympathy. I think it's empathy with Myles Garrett more than we ever have. And yeah, I know, well, I'll never have $200 million or whatever it is. That is never going to happen. But essentially, he feels the same as we do. Again, you chose it. You're now in the wool. You're now with it. You ain't leaving. And he feels the same way we do on a Sunday when things aren't going well. When they're going really, really bad. I do think I want to see how he is, because this team ain't gonna get much better. I think they're a 4-win football team. Well, they got 3 more very winnable games on there. Yeah, they got 1 or 2 of them on the road. The Vegas game is on the road, and they're terrible on the road. So who's to say they're going to beat Vegas on the road? I know the Raiders are terrible. Yeah, you're not good either.
You know who's going to be quarterbacking Vegas in that game, right?
Shador?
No, I'm saying the Vegas.
Oh, you mean Kenny?
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Kenny, more than likely. Yeah, so we got...
Can't lose to Kenny Pickett,
Boy,
right?
we got a great future ahead of us.
Can't lose to Kenny Pickett.
It took a winning team a 68-yard field goal to beat them yesterday in Vegas. And the Raiders are absolutely one of the worst teams.
They're not good, but it's still professional football. So right. I know the Dolphins game went, thank God, the way a lot of us thought it was going to go, where you went out there and you won. And I think that a lot of people thought they should beat them down, and they did beat them down. It was a nice win. But I don't think that that's par for the course for what this football team is. So you're really not that great, and I want to see how Myles' reaction is, because I think there were plenty of times in Myles' history where it was, I'm going to get mine, and I think he wants to win. But the leadership thing, I mean, we've beaten that dead horse a million times over. And I think he looked at it as, I'm going to get my stats, I'm going to get my sacks, I'm going to get my money. And I think a lot of guys look at that, and now all of a sudden it's hitting him going, this is where it is. This is it. Because I think there was a time before, if you've come out and said you wanted to trade in February, there are plenty of times where people said you should ask for a trade. And you even thought about asking for a trade. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you probably felt, if you were him, that it ain't going to end like this, and I have my out whenever I decide to do it. Not that he doesn't like the area. Not that he doesn't even like the organization. I think he loves the area. I think he likes the organization just fine, because they've done a lot of things that he's wanted him to do. But now it's like, you're here, you're a Cleveland Browns fan in so many ways. As much as you are a player and the best they've ever had defensively, you are as much of us as you've ever been. And so he reacts the same way you do on a Sunday, except you could go out and rake leaves, or you could go out and put up Halloween decorations and take them down and get ready for Christmas. He can't. He's out there on the field. So he has to watch it.
Yeah, the thing that stinks is, even when he signed the contract, I remember coming on the air the next day, and people are like, all right, the stunt is over. We got Myles Garrett. We got the best defensive player in football and one of the best players in the game, and maybe one of the best in Browns history, whatever. Well, he is one of the best. Could he be the best? It's all in play for Myles Garrett. That's how great he is. But I had to, just give everybody the dose of reality, which I think everybody knew, which is, this is never going to end. This him and talk of trades and him being disgruntled, it's never going to end. I mean, obviously, unless everything falls into place and they get the right quarterback and start winning like crazy. But when is that going to happen? When is the winning going to happen? Is it going to be next year? Odds will be against it. Will it be the year after? Even if you get the quarterback right, like Washington did. Well, guess what? It's year 2 for Washington, and they're terrible, and they're not going to make the playoffs. And they were in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
So how many years away are we? All right, Houston with Stroud.
right? He playoff win in year 1. Oh, the rookie is taking the league by storm. It's year 3. Everybody's disappointed in him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how old will Myles Garrett be when the Browns are actually good? When is that going to happen?
33.
And what's going to be left?
Not as much as there is now. Simple. 216-474-0092. Nick on the road. You're next up on the Fan. Go ahead.
Thanks, guys. The whole narrative of you took the money, so you know what you signed up for, it's like a super obvious statement, and we already know that he got paid really well. At the time he signed the contract, he was the highest paid defensive player in the history of the league. But what I think we're missing, and Ken, you're onto it in a way when you're saying, sympathy, empathy. How many millions of people in the world have a good paying job and get pissed when things aren't going well?
A lot of them, I imagine.
It's okay. Like, I don't understand. It's like, oh my God, he showed emotion.
Well, if
he took the money, why? If he were show emotion,
if he were standing there with a great big smile on his face on the sideline, I think I'd be even madder. Like, and by the way, I'm not mad at him. I'm not the whole throwing the helmet thing. Like, yeah, I know. Okay, fine. Yes, there literally is a history there. But I see guys throw helmets on the sidelines every single week in different jerseys. I just come to rationalize it and expect it. It's normalized to me. That doesn't bother me. Him being upset does not bother me. It bothers me that we're losing. I used to be way more bothered with the nonchalance. I like that he cares. I think that he does feel like maybe he's trapped in some way. But hey, that's okay. That's fine. I'd rather him be mad than just say, you know what, I'm getting paid and do. And I got to tell you, and I wish I could really say it. I'm not going to, Nick, because I think you're right, and I thank you very much for the call. There have been guys who have been in this organization since 1999 who have done just enough to make sure that they're good enough to start a season and that they're bad enough to not have to play. I'm not going to talk about anybody in particular. There have been plenty of people who, at the end of their prime or even in their prime, they've been here for any modicum of time, whether they were drafted here, free agent, doesn't matter. And they've done just enough to make sure that check cashes. You'd be amazed. That's all I'm going to say. What
was the name of their rap CD?
I'm not saying that. If he is one of them, I'm telling you, he ain't the only one.
Well, no. I mean, he's far from the only one.
Okay. Because, he probably is, but I don't know enough on him. But I can tell you right now, from 99 to now, there are plenty of us who will say, yeah, man, there are plenty of guys that people like and have jerseys of that they were willing to do just enough, whether it be in the middle or the end, to be eligible to start the year, and then just bad enough to not be able to go on Sunday because they didn't want to put it out there. He's playing, and he's playing his ass off. So I have no, these rants about Myles and stuff like that. This is not anti-Myles. This isn't. It's just what can you get back in return, and we've had that a million times over. And it's not about making him happy. It's just about trying to find something. Because I'll tell you, I was going to save this for last segment. I'll bring this in now. I watch football more desperately than I ever have. That's why I'm not enjoying it as much as I did before, like watching other teams. I watched on Saturday. I put it out there, too. I watched on Saturday. I watched Julian Sand throwing the ball all over the place. Now, again, he's got Carnell Tate, and he's got he's got maybe the greatest college wide receiver I think I've ever seen. Good God, is he amazing. And you got two men that you're throwing to, and no matter what, they know it whenever it's coming. And he looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate right now, and he looks like he'd be better than the whole crop of guys that are out there coming out in 2026. And watching him and knowing that, it is possible to win with quarterbacks that are less than. It's just not what you want to set out to do. And how much easier life is with a new quarterback, with a really good quarterback. Like Lima, I'm sitting there going, you know what? I might be willing to go ahead and move on from you-know-who if I can get those picks and put myself in a position to get that guy. Knowing that we'd be barely able to put a football team. To sign up for another year of even worse than this, to go out and maybe get my crack to get that guy. That's how desperate I am. That is a terrible place to be in. A terrible place to be in. that I'd be willing to do all this just for Julian Sain.
Well, think of how desperate we were when we thought that things had bottomed out with Baker, and so they go and make the most desperate move ever.
This is
and one that that I supported.
Yeah, and I think this is still far worse because I didn't support it and I didn't want him here, and a lot of people didn't really want him here, and now he's not good. Or he might get another crack at it by the time the season's over, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna do a lot of things so they can make sure that he doesn't have to. Meaning, I think that Dylan Gabriel's going to be out there longer than a lot of fans want him to be, and I think that Shedeur Sanders will be out there, and hopefully they'll be able to keep him upright and all right. I mean, that's how bad of a mistake that is, and I want to move on from that mistake so badly. I'm willing to do desperate things to do it. Even signing up for another year of what? Of this? Of this? Coming up next, I think you don't understand just how influential you are. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Peter and Company Jewelers in Avon.
The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Tone, I don't think fans know how influential they are. So there are people listening on the free Odyssey app. They go back and they listen to our on the rewind function, or they go back and listen to the segments when they wake up a little bit later on, and we're thankful for every single one of you. But you and I, we started the conversation today, and I forget how it got started, but we were guessing win counts and things like that, and I said 6 wins until I got to the last week of the preseason, right before the season started, the week leading up to the Bengals game. And I said peer pressure, listener pressure, made me relent and say 8 wins. I got excited. I became an excitable boy. I said 8 wins. And I have dealt with this group of folks that are saying, you can't blame fans. Don't blame fans on your overzealousness. Don't you blame fans. Don't blame fans. I'm going, I'm not blaming you. I'm saying you're influential. I felt bad. I think there were a lot of people who wanted a pep rally right before the season started. I started to feel a little bit different. I go, well, they can line up. They can run the football. It's a football. Now, again, this is before the season started. I thought, man, they'll line up and run the football. They'll play good defense. Their defense will be better than what it is this last year. Maybe I'm shortchanging them. I think it's a point of pride that there's I'm at least reasonable, am I not? Or is that unreasonable? Should I have stuck to my guns and said 6 and been a great big fuddy-duddy about it the week leading up to the Bengals game?
Your way of doing this every year is much more fun. I'd like to.
I don't want to just be fun. I want to be honest with myself. It's not even honest with everybody else. Like when I say it at the time I say it, I think I'm being honest. But then later on, I go, why did I? Really? You want Dylan Gabriel to play? It's like, why would you say such a thing? Well, I'm desperate and I'm a crazy person at the time. So now that I had some time to think about it, it's not about being more fun. I just want to be honest with myself. No? Nothing?
I guess we totally disagreed at the start of the year. I mean, I didn't think there was a chance.
How many wins do you think they were going to have?
I think I said 4. I think I had 4. And I think they are, I know as bad as it looks, like they're underdogs against the Jets this week. I'll probably pick them to win. They'll probably win this week. And we'll just be more frustrated at the end of the year when we're not picking as high as we want them to pick. I mean, what Daryl said, the Jacksonville pick's going to be in the 20s. But
well, now you're just doing it based on your own cynicism.
Well, you just what stinks is you're evaluating the rookies. Like, is Judkins going to be able to play this week? Schwetzinger's not, right?
No,
I mean he's going to be out for some time.
He was at the first Cup game. He was holding the crystal ball.
You know what? I did see him there.
Yeah, the jeweled ball. He was holding that.
So, when is the next Cup game? Next Friday?
When is the next
Friday?
Cup game?
I should say.
I think it is this Friday. Yeah.
Didn't get off to a good start.
We shrink when it's Cup time.
Well, you didn't have Donovan Mitchell. Like,
anytime you're really playing for something, man, we don't do so well. Yes, against the Wizards.
Yeah. All right.
We're in the group stage of the Cup.
They can't possibly lose that game, right?
Hey, man.
That Toronto one was a horrific watch.
I didn't think that there was a chance that they'd lose to Toronto, and then they lost to Toronto.
Need Mobley to take more shots in a Cup game.
We're playing for the Cup, man. 216-474-0092. I don't want to use this experience and let it embitter me next year or the year. Like, eventually, guys, they got to be good at some point.
Well, you'll be excited about the rookies because they're going to take 2 first-round picks.
I know that.
One will be an offensive lineman that's not as sexy, but for you it is.
What I'm saying, it is sexy to me, thank you very much, but at some point, they can't be bad forever. They're not going to be bad they can be bad for a long time, but it's got to get better at some point, and I don't want to lose focus of the fun of a good season because I'm so focused on protecting my own feelings or protecting others in some way. So I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm saying that, yeah, you guys are influential. There was some zealousness that came in. I let the fans get to me a little bit. And it's not blaming you. It's just the truth of the matter. Because at the end of it, if I were sitting here and it was the Infinity Sports Network, and I said the Bills were, if I say the Patriots weren't going to make the playoffs, even though I picked the Patriots as a playoff team, whatever, I could sit there and give all these reasons, X, Y, and Z, and fight them all day. But because I don't care how good the Patriots do. I really don't. But I care about the Browns being good because it makes life much better. So, yeah, it's not blame, it's influence. I was influenced in this situation. Frank in Grafton, hello.
Hey, good morning, guys. I listen to the show every day.
Thank you.
Listen, maybe, and I think you're right, you made your projections at the beginning of the year. I thought myself 8 or 9 wins because I was on the assumption that Flacco was going to be there and Kenny Pickett. So things changed during the season, so you shouldn't hold that against your projections.
That's a good point.
It's not your fault. Pickett was a first round. Pickett was a first-round pick for the Steelers, and he was a veteran. Okay, he's not perfect, but I think he'd be doing a lot better if we had him.
It's not my fault. Thank you very much, Frank. You made my day. You made my morning. Thank you very much.
Like Christopher Walken a little bit to me.
You made it's not my fault. That guy sounded like Christopher Walken to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, it's still your fault. What out of the Flacco offense with the Browns did you see that promised anything of 8 wins?
I told you. I said they'd line up and take care of the football and run the football.
Don't let this guy...
No. I said eventually.
Now, once again, influence, and now you're flopping the other way.
No, I'm not. But going at the season, I thought that you can't turn it over more times than you have over the past 2 years. So that's got to come down to you. You're going to be able to take care of the football better because you have a veteran there, and you're going to be able to line up and run the football. That's what I said.
And what did Flacco do more than
turn the ball over? Yeah. He turned it over. I didn't think he would, but he did. And now Dylan's starting to turn it over. Hopefully when Shador takes over, he won't. But obviously,
a long list of Browns quarterbacks have turned the ball over in the past, and I'm sure more will in the future.
Damn it. I'm not blaming him is what I'm saying. Lima doesn't care anymore. He's checked out.
I thought you could have made a case for Flacco and the run that he went on 2 years ago. But then we saw them play.
But that was okay, but I'm talking about before the season. I hadn't seen him play.
Yeah, he didn't get many.
Just open your eyes.
We had the weird two-tiered double quarterback competition.
Double-breasted quarterback competition.
What are we going to do next year? How many quarterbacks do we in camp next year?
We can never do that. We can never do anything like that again. I say that, and we're definitely going to do something like that again. Maybe in this offseason. Why stop at 2?
Get to 5.
6. Can we get 6? Big thanks to Daryl Ryder. Trey Wingo was awesome. Listen to that interview, 923thefan.com, as well as the free Odyssey app. We're back tomorrow morning, 6 to 10. John Greco is going to join us on the show. That'll be a hell of a time. We looking excited? Are we excited about the Jets?
Sure that you're not booing, but you're
I'll get us excited this week.
Have a good day, my friends. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans.